All right, well, Happy New Year, SPNatI. That's strip poker night at the inventory for the uninitiated, although who the fuck would listen to this piece of shit episode if you're not intimately familiar with everyone on the Discord already? This is just an off-the-cuff
Welcome to shitpost heaven.
Ask Me Anything to kick off the new year. Here, I'm your host, spnanon, here with nmasp.
And I'm your co-host, nmasp, obviously. We also have napsu speaking in text speak, both literal and figurative, as part of the chat.
Because why would we make this easy for Solitaire to edit?
Why? Yeah, it's like, okay, you know what? Fine. If she wants to answer questions, you're going to take the screenshot compilation and send it over to Solitaire. Okay, yeah, she's nodding furiously. That seems to be acceptable. Okay, cool. Cool.
I can do that. I'm probably gonna have to do that after the fact, but I can do it.
I'm gonna just have her go do it for herself.
Use text to speech.
What is the text TTS bot?
Are we gonna have another bot in here? We spent like 10 minutes setting up Craig again.
I mean, yeah, bot. But we can. This is all good to go.
So yeah, we got a bunch of people in the chat. We're gonna start off with like previously submitted questions for me, nmasp, and napsu, and then once we answer all those, we will move into just like opening the floor. Anyone can ask questions, maybe join voice. We're not sure. They're currently discussing the ins and outs of text to speech.
I'd say we should probably use text to speak. It goes without saying that those of us who are on the call, please don't unduly spam the chat, and also don't unmute yourselves if you have that power. It's going to make life very, very difficult for us.
Test.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Oh my god, it's her.
Works.
It's Napsu's voice. Say something funny.
It me. TXT2 speech.
All right, we're going to mute, like we just said. If you're not one of the three people, you can just get me muted. So we're good to go. How do we record that into, okay, obviously we're figuring this out as we go, but I guess this will be on the main track and you can just kind of let that go. Does that work?
Cavendish, if you look at like the download link, I guess it's still in progress, but it probably should say if KDBot is in there now. Yeah, the intent of this is just to fuck around. Probably not meant for a general audience. I mean, hopefully there's some like legit good like dev
advice
questions in there. I don't know what the questions are yet.
Yeah, it's some of them are good. Some of them are less spectacular, but we're going to answer all of them. So,
but we're hoping to make this a minimal editing job.
Yeah.
To kick off the new year.
Okay. So
does it work?
We hear you. Just don't know if it's recording.
I can always just copy this. Control plus F.
Works for me.
Got him.
All right, you want to go ahead and get started?
My wife, the robot, I guess. Okay, so
is there anything more ANCAP than just like building and marrying a robot?
I can think of a few things.
my
I am not a
wife.
sex doll.
Okay, I don't think we needed that to be clarified, but go for it. Well,
you've got the
anything to dunk.
All right, so
you've got the questions list. So
cool. I do have the questions list. Let's go ahead. So, we're basically, the way I structured this is questions came in and they got kind of in a randomized order. I'm going to try and shuffle them around so we're not just like going on like this is 15 questions for one person. For those who submitted a question and aren't seeing it here or don't hear it in this conversation, it's probably not likely that I actually forgot. It's just that there's two broad topics of questions I excluded. One are the things that are just like inane. Like if you were the person who asked like what is 1 + 9? Or something like that, like, I'm sorry, go get educated. The second thing is like, if you're asking a lot of questions about one particular character, that's great, but we'll probably save those answers for an actual cast later. So if you asked us a lot of questions about something on test, very likely that it's not here today, just because we will be talking more about individual characters in a different episode and different format. So not trying to say it's a bad question, just not really for tonight. There's nothing on here that was like super stupid and offensive, but some of the things that were a little low effort or a little bit repetitive, I've consolidated. So if I missed something, you can always ask it in the open section at the end if you're at this. Cool.
Yeah, by the way, this is not
no worries.
This is not like delaying the next podcast episode. Like we still got it. We still have an agenda of like characters to cover, and next time.
Yeah, and for context, Frin, like the question about Harris was fine. There are a couple other people that asked questions about their characters specifically, and some people asked like 4 about the same one. So just getting out ahead of that one, not to be mean. Okay.
Also, so Carvel, do you think we're working from like a script here?
There's no plan here. It's just this is the best type of anarchy. We're all good to go. Okay, so first I'll ask one question for everyone. Someone asked a question about Harris, right? Tweetseed, it's just going to be the people on the cast that are answering questions. We'll come back to it a little bit later. Okay, so opening the question, what is your most anticipated new feature or bug fix that's coming out? So what
can you post that question in text, like in the channel?
Yeah, give me just a second. So what is shit?
There appears to still be a little confusion in the chat.
That's fine. We're figuring it out. I sent that to Cavendish.
Social media messaging.
Sorry, Cavendish. I had my open thing to you. We're all. I'm a little hungover, just in transparency, which is my usual excuse, but it's very true today.
I am as sober as a priest on Sunday.
Well, that's great for you. Some of us are not in that situation, and Solitaire is editing none of this, so he's just going to keep. So, what is your most anticipated feature bug fix? Did we lose Greg? Or good? Okay, cool.
It's there.
So I think it's Spinanon, why don't we let you go first on this one, then we'll rotate around.
I don't know, man. You've had time to think about them.
I actually have not. I just organized it, so I'm just kind of thinking on the fly. So most anticipated feature bug fix.
Bug fix. Can we count like my own policy proposals?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Because I wrote up a whole thing and did all the legwork on just like removing the requirement to like win a game to see an epilogue, at least for the default. That's my big thing, because I feel like the game is just increasingly in the perception of players, because there's so many epilogues. You have to beat characters, so you have to grind them all out because you're at the mercy of luck. You have to there's collectibles, so there's long list of like tasks presented to the casual player, and that's how like every other game in history operates. So they just assume that's how this game is supposed to be. Like that's the whole point of the game. And if you don't have enough collectibles, or if you don't have an epilogue, your character just sucks and is worthless. And especially with fewer people making epilogues, that's just a horrible perception of the game for people to have. So it's like, just get rid of it. Like what is the value of making people win? Like the point is that it's okay to lose, is that like the game should still be hot if you lose, and that like you should just try to enjoy the character, not just grind them out with like Mika and Navi or whatever. So like, why are we encouraging that? Just get rid of it. Just cleanse the world of Dranky's sins. Like this was another bad idea Dranky had. Like just get rid of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so Napsu's got a thing queued up that she's hovering her tiny little fingers over the enter button on, so go ahead and send that in.
Epilogue thing SG2M, but I also just want the character editor to show posted or unresponded lines. Also easier to set global conditionals, i.e., if character is present, use this set of lines.
Oh, that'd be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
Like if you just had a whole bunch of like pre-written targets to like whenever a franchise mate drops. That'd be kind of interesting.
Exactly.
I mean, I haven't personally. I'm very thankful to have never had that experience where someone just drops a franchise mate, because Vandred, well, we all know the story on that. I'm not getting blindsided by that anytime soon. But Black Lagoon and Kill la Kill, like, there easily could have been someone could have made like Jakuzure or like Edda or something by now, and just nobody has.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, and Jakuzure would have been good. But
I think you can do this with filters, but having a general character likes this, doesn't like this, scales a lot BTR than having two manually write lines.
I like the way that it pronounces 2 differently than if you do TO to like the number 2.
To 2.
Okay, that's super weird. I think for me, it's honestly like just the banter wizard working. So it's kind of like what Napsu's saying, but just the banter wizard being able to be like a single source of truth for like if you, oh God, that's consulted term. Whether or not you've actually done something or not would be really cool. But I think it's also, I don't really understand how the character editor tells you that you have new lines or not. And I would just like to see that be polished a little bit more. I guess like if we're like kind of going full pie in the sky here, I would really like it if it were easier to make epilogues, but that's kind of like I wish it were the game would write itself levels of bug fix. So that's kind of my thought on that.
It's like the tools are all there, but because the tools are so good now, it creates like a much higher expectation of what's going to be in the epilogue. It used to be like you got 18 PowerPoint slides and that's it.
That's kind of what it is. It's like it's like a Dujin, but there's like limits to how it all goes.
Like that's why my epilogues all start off with like talking in a flat scene and then like instantly naked and no like foreplay or anything, because there was no room for it. I can't devote 5 scenes or 5 PowerPoint slides to like slowly taking off her bra or whatever.
Also, like, because you got to do that with like Kisake, so there's like, there's production limits as it were. It's like the engine does not support you doing that, and if we were manually drawing things, we would just do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's the current epilogue editor is built for like all these animatable parts, and it's like that's not in Kisake at all. We need a whole separate tool to like chop these models up into parts you can actually animate. So we just like do not have like all the art tools necessary. They're like all in different places, and it needs to be like all in one. I guess there is sort of the disassembler now in the character editor. You can like import only parts of a model. That's still kind of clunky though.
TBH Kaizake being rebuilt from the ground up would be GR8, if you can just build in new cosmetics.
That would be kind of cool. It's like, if we just had like an engine, like the game engine itself were just a little better. Like if we're all built on like visual novel technology, but we're looking at a completely different game at that point.
Well, I mean, we already are kind of using our own Kisake, so if Viz just wants to like just dive off of that cliff, just make his own.
I mean, I think there's like a lot of like semi-solid ideas in Pochi, like that Pochi's come up with, like preset poses and shit like that, like is pretty good. But I think there's definitely room to move forward in like a more sensible way. I think like the spaghetti code that holds Kisake together is just not fun to look at as far as understanding it. I know at one point Solitaire and Napsu were just trying to like change some of like the useless faces into like different types of attachments that you could put in, but I don't know. I think it's like the best of that. Like it's like the best worst tool. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Everything's technically there.
Yeah, but it's undo button plus undo button that doesn't cause a memory leak.
It's like building a computer out of Legos or something.
Yeah, well, that's what Roblox is. All right, so on to the next question. Okay, so this one was a little bit strange. It's like, what do you think is going to happen in SPNatI 2022, or what do you want to see in it this year? I can go ahead and open on this because I have had some time to think about this. I don't know. I think I want to not be making content by the end of the year. I think like if I can just be done with the game by the end of the year, and if there's like an exit strategy that I haven't played, that'd be great. But I thank you, Stormland. That's really great. Thank you for whoever's posting those in chat. You're a hero. Thank you. Because I don't want to do it. Okay, but I think for me, I want to stop being able to make stuff because it's like I'm really happy with what I've made, and I want to just go on to other hobbies. But I think as far as like things I'd like to see is I don't know. I think for me the biggest thing is seeing new authors come in and continue to develop and make content, which I feel like is going to happen because like a lot of the new people that have joined are just like they're just good. Like they're just good. Like you look at Arian, like the guy that made Noir, and it's just like the art's strong, the writing is strong. You have Nord, who's just like taking over every fucking project known to man and like driving it through to the end. It's all very impressive just to name a couple people. But I think it's like it's sort of amazing, like the quantum leap, where it's like you have like old fuckers like me and spnanon who've been here since 2017, 2018, and then you see what people are able to do now, and it's kind of like the metamorphosis over the course of like a game becoming more salient, like in the same way that like you have an esport or like what's an example I can think of? It's like League of Legends, right? Like if you start playing League of Legends like today compared to like 5 years ago, and yeah, big fan of that Hex. It's like let me just continue this like vaguely white racist thing that I am known for. But anyway, yeah, TLDR. I think like people that are coming and going are making really great things, and I just want to see more of that. So it's like I can retire in peace knowing that the torch has been passed on.
Can we talk about all these minorities in the SPNatI cast? Like,
is that we can? We can.
Can we talk about the elephant in the room?
Deep concern. Lookin' real stereotype. Over here.
Well.
Asian wife, libertarian white man.
Okay. Well, yeah, that doesn't really look too great, but I wouldn't worry so much about that. Spin-on, what do you want to see in the coming year?
I've been saying for pretty much all of this year, I think the game is in a really good place.
Yeah, agreed.
There's a pretty steady there's a steady flow of like new creators coming in, and like maybe they're just being buoyed by like Horse Killer's model work, but like I see like the Kill guy, like he's like improving his
Killer, yeah. Horse Killer is the great man of SPNatI, without which the entire thing falls apart.
And Arian, like he's Noir's creator, like he's got great art skills too, and like the dialogue is getting there. Like I think there's a lot of talent. Like there's a pretty deep new talent pool, almost to the point where like there's so much talent on testing that they probably don't feel the need to get off of testing super bad, because you're like in pretty good company even on testing.
Yeah, agreed. Like I think the game's in the best position it's ever been, to be honest.
I think the only like what's a super like development wise, like what's a problem going on right now, assuming the epilogue thing goes through, because I consider that a problem. I think the only problem we're facing right now is that its sponsorship is still kind of a big choke point.
Yeah,
but I think we are working towards solutions to that. We're hashing things out. At least we're not just like, it's not a problem. So like
calling it now. NMASP is going to say lack of mod intervention making game GR8, but counterpoint sponsorship being 1000 millennia.
Comments?
I don't think that's wrong. I think the fact that it's pretty open-ended, that people can come in and do the thing. Like the rules that are there to stop people from doing stupid things, not to stop people from doing, issues. So I think I would agree with that statement. But
it's nice that the mods are usually pretty hands-off. That does mean some suspect stuff kind of sneaks through onto testing, but it usually doesn't make it to main roster. Usually, Darja.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know. I'm a little bit more distant than I once was, but there's only a few things where it's just like, yeah, we're not going to send this through. I think like the time I was like literally tripping mushrooms, I thought the OC was like, this can't be real. And then it was like, oh, that was the thing that actually happened. Damn. That's why Pat's no longer with us. It literally killed Pat.
Anili?
Yeah, whatever. Napsu, what's your thing for 2022?
More boys. I want more lines to my characters, but I also want to quit the game, so IDKLMAO.
Are we doing our personal future plans here? Because
SPNATI is Hotel California.
I
Can
don't
check out when you like. Can never stop responding.
Cusa and I would beg to differ.
I don't want to like. I don't want to quit. I do want to catch up. So in the sense my workload is dramatically reduced. I just want to be at a point where I'm happy. Relatively, and like that's the thing. Like if you get to a point where you're happy, then updating to like target one new character really isn't that much work.
Right. Yeah, I hear you on that. I think it's just like I've just got like kind of a bit more bodies in the in the game, so it's a little bit harder for me to sustainably do that. But
dude, Alias, how many times have I been compared to like fucking Sisyphus pushing this rock up the hill?
Maya, yeah. But
well, I should have done it right the first time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I get you. I think for me, it's like, it's not that I want to like, it's like, oh, I don't like doing this. It's like, I really do. Like, I really do like doing this hobby. I just also don't have like the amount of time that I used to sit down and like bang out like 70 lines in, an hour or whatever and just be like, yep, I'm up to date now. I also like have this burden of like, I've done so much of this that it's like, I need my stuff to show that it's like it's still just as good or it's like better than it used to be, because it's like it's the improvement, not the end step, that I think matters. Mm-hmm. Like you can come on to test and be like, look, this character's fucking garbage, and then whip it out and get something good in like after a couple months of work. Like I don't think anyone is like like I didn't write good lines when I started this, but I just did it a lot and then you get better.
Honestly, I feel like with a lot, I just got like complacent with a lot of like my development practices over the years, and now I want to have like this year. I really like to have like a rebirth. Like I just like to start fresh and just like to take a look.
Just be perfect from the start.
Exactly.
No bad lines, no failed efforts.
I just want to like take a look at all like the character editor tools.
SPNanon as Tiger Woods of Dev.
Did I have some kind of
needs to cheat on his spouse?
Did I
reawaken to greatness?
Did I have some kind of sexual? Did I need some kind of sexual healing?
Then lose lots.
I don't know where this analogy is going, but I don't like it. I want it to stop.
Is Ryuko my spouse, Cool Cat? I was under the impression she was like some kind of nubile Japanese teen that I had a fling with.
Ryuko too young for SPNanon.
I'm 25, thank you.
He is not sufficient libertarian.
Stop. Anyway.
I'm actually like, yes. Why does everyone think I and my characters are older than they are?
I don't know. It's the voice, it's the bald, it's the fury, it's the sound, it's the lights, it's the noise. Yeah.
Hex, why do you have the memory of like a goldfish? Like how many times have we had this conversation? It's been several times.
He needs more titty milk for memory.
Okay. So that's all great. So this one's actually for SPNanon.
Ooh.
So we have a couple. I'm going to give you two questions that are kind of like a little vague, and then we'll come back down. But what is your favorite character that isn't yours? Like, I think this is like any of us can answer this, but this was specifically directed at you. So I'm going to force you to do it. Then we'll move on.
I want to comment real quick that like,
sure.
I was defending myself as being young, but I actually kind of feel as if I don't really like writing schoolgirls. So Ryuko is kind of too young in a way. I don't find like the high school setting all that compelling anymore. I just don't think it's not a part of my life or I really want to dwell on or like be super nostalgic for. I didn't hate high school, but I don't feel like, oh, ooh, icky boys. Like,
Catholic school just lives rent-free in my DNA.
like it's all right. Like one of my
The
favorite
Nuns.
movies is like Back to the Future, so I
The
can still
Nuns.
appreciate it. But like, I mean, even then, Michael J. Fox is really 24.
I want none of it.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just it's a part of my life, and it was fine, and it happened, and I don't feel the need to constantly look back on it.
I'm not a fan of my high school time, but it's not something I need to go back to.
I just like space. Star Trek. I just want to replicate some chocolate cake. I don't want to like make out by the lockers. I want my cake.
I want my space cake. The Roz Strangely in space, Star Wars.
Sorry, I guess I should answer the question.
Yeah,
what's my favorite character that's not mine?
That isn't yours. Yeah.
I was explicitly asked this not too long ago on Discord.
Yeah.
Give a couple different answers. I am really impressed by Metal's work with all of his characters, but like especially Nami, just like the level of like custom detail and all the animatable parts that he makes. Like it's just a super visible amount of effort. You can tell how much he loves this character, and like all the little touches and interactions he does, like with the New Game Plus. Like I think like as a creator, like I just see the most I can learn from her, and she's obviously super hot too. But she's like got good dialogue, and she's like genuinely smart and like fun to talk to. So she's always got a spot. I think he's always done like super great work, and he'll just continue to hold the grudge because I made fun of Chun-Li when she first came on testing.
Spite's a great motivator. What can one say besides that?
Yeah. Other than that, like just on a personal level, I just love Galatea.
Yeah, Galatea is really cool.
This Galatea, there's a hole in this rock, and this hole was made for me. This is my hole. It stretches.
Same.
And
I always forget to target her though.
Her rock skin depresses like memory foam. She's just I'm King Arthur, man. Nice. I don't know. I just
maybe go for it, I guess.
Maybe it's the Greek in me, because I have Greek family. I'm like a quarter Greek, and I'm the modern Pygmalion. I don't know. I just want to teach her. I just want to teach her about humanity and feed her feta cheese
with your penis. Yes.
and eats spanakopita, and look at the moonlight on Crete. And then maybe go kill some Trojans. I guess. We'll definitely go through some Trojans. I can say that. Yeah. All right. Can a statue get pregnant? So the next question: would we have a rock baby? It's not about fucking a rock. It's about the ship of Theseus. It's basically a prompt of the ship of Theseus. Cavendish, that's the fucking meme I referenced last podcast. Oh, so God. This question is basically like, it was originally about like the ship of Theseus, and I think the way that I'm going to spin this question instead, that's more interesting, is at what point do you feel like an adopted character ceases to be the original? Because like we talk about like the philosophical ramifications of like the ship of Theseus, but when do you feel like an adopted character becomes its own thing, owned by the new creator rather than the old one? Well, how many people in this chat are unaware that Revi is not originally mine? Well, yeah, I mean, that's right, though. To answer. Ya when you associate W the new author. Have you even noticed that, like, there's an OSG, stands for Obey Saturn God, in like, her writing? Like, he did the first, like, 800, 900 lines. And, like, the original model was, like, Undead Clown or something. Who LMAOEA adopted streaming Chan too. That's right. That was like, what, Dan Atta Dan did that? Yeah. I don't know, like, how many lines did Streaming Chan have before, like, how many lines does Streaming Chan have? Oh, I don't know. Probably like 500. It's like, yeah. Where is Streaming Chan? Streaming Chan currently has 4,000 lines. Yeah. OSG also did, say, who still has her original model.
500 4500.
Yeah, so I think when you add 4,000 lines to a character, you are entitled to say that that's yours.
Right. So Revy has like
9 billion lines or something.
Revy had like 800, 900 lines when I started. And I actually I've deleted a lot of those too. So even more of them are mine, like proportionally. Just because I don't know, they were just out of character.
Got it.
I mean, I don't really blame them. It's just the way characters were written back then, but it was kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all changes. Like, stuff is different now. Have I adopted any from the chat? Say, yeah.
Yeah, from OSG.
Yeah,
we both take them
I think
from that
I
man.
think I got Say across the finish line. I don't think I like. Yeah, I think Say is more my character than OSG's, but I haven't updated her in a while, and hopefully Mike can do her a good job. Okay.
Yeah, Revy at least had a character next to a lot of other characters
She
in
had a personality.
Early 2017. She just basically shit on everyone else.
Yeah.
Which was, pretty easy because they were all garbage. But back then it was unique. I tried to move away from that now because it's not unique anymore, and there's less to shit on. So she needs to just have normal conversations. But sometimes I wonder about what would Revy's fate have been if I just left her.
Nothing. She'd just be the bottom of the roster with Xander and all that.
So 800 lines. She'd have she'd be too thick. Her hips were way too wide. She had green boots. She had a weird zipper that looked like a penis.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Stormland. Really appreciate it.
People also thought she was way older than she was.
So let's go ahead and have if someone else wouldn't mind taking the questions down to the chat, that would be great. We gotta composite this a little later. Question for everyone: who has the best butt pose?
Every butt is different.
They're all different, but
every butt just says so much about the girl or boy who has it.
Yeah,
I really need to add a side profile to my butts. I think that's what elevates them to be able to, because the butt. The worst thing about the butt is how hard it is to make eye contact.
It's true.
But to have that and the butt is just that's the stuff.
Personally, I really like Emmy's butt. I think Emmy's got a good butt.
She has it at an angle, which is very unique.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good butt pose.
I like how I'm gonna
Adrian.
I'm gonna trump up these characters again.
Give me more boy butts.
I'm gonna pull up these characters again, but I like how Nami has the ass cleavage with the top of her.
Call me
cheeks,
Tina Belcher.
Poking out of the
Give me
jeans.
dem butts.
Then there's
butts.
All right.
Oh my God, mute naps.
Just let her tire herself out. Then there's Sucrose is really good with her garter belt and how it's how it
I
curves
will not be silenced.
with the curvature.
Yeah.
I like how Galatea very clearly fills out her prom dress.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, which is really stupid because I really like the character and she's just right there. Yeah, wow.
I'm gonna post that right now.
Dorian, good work, sir.
Used to be the very first thing you saw.
Too.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Amy's got a good butt too. I like Amy's butt. Good job, Thursdays. Cool.
Now that I have legit butt references for Maya, straight on, standing still, or standing straight up, no pin-up pose. I'm gonna make the magic happen. I got a piece of feedback on the feedback poll that was just I love to see some ass. That was it. And it's oh yeah, she compared to a lot of characters, she has a really consistent butt pose. A lot of them are hard to.
TFW, you are a perfect butt reference, but her husband doesn't touch Kaisuke less than. Sad Weiss. 384 quadrillion 160 trillion 996 billion 878 million 450,689 greater than.
What?
That's the fucking. It's like the code, internal
It's the
code for emotes.
Fucking funny.
Oh god, don't spam emotes, fucking napsu.
I have like 6,839,000
6 gorillion.
files. I have 6 gorillion, like, goddamn.
Over
Anyway.
6 billion butts.
Yeah. Anyway, no. Stop. Don't post it. Stop. No.
Is she trying to get the bot to talk for half an hour?
No, she's just pasting emojis and is about to hit the button. I'm just like trying to like smack the keyboard away from her.
That's what I mean.
Anyway, stop it. Don't you do it. Anyway,
that's what I want. I want to just have like butt poses on like every pose because I have the references for it. So just like why did I think Maya got praised for that because like
it's a gentle chastising.
A lot of other characters have like butt poses that might be kind of hard to see. They might be kind of random.
Winky face.
But Maya like always shows it, so I think that's why she got praised for it. It's like I want to be that character where like if you want the butt, you can go here automatically. You get some.
Yeah, Maya's got a good butt.
Well, thank you.
Maya's got a good butt. You did good. You did good, sir.
Not good enough. I want to make it better.
Cool.
I want to get like if you go a little higher to get like the teardrop shape, I want to like work the waist into it, like the kind of like the muscles up there, like the end of like your pelvis. You know what I mean?
Sure. I'm not an artist. I just write.
Get some markings in that. I think a lot of characters like they make the butts too circular and they don't have like anything going on like above or below them. They just look like pasted on. You want to like work it into the whole body.
It's the composition. There. It's the composition. All right.
Everyone's butts are a little bit different, and that's
true.
Nice.
Like
real life.
Yeah. All right. So next question is for spnanon, and then there's an addendum for napsu and myself. So spnanon, like, why shaved is all the question says. I think that's the entire subtext that needs to be said. So spnanon, why shaved?
That's not enough of a question, really. Like, what do they mean? Why do they make May and Jura shaved?
I think it's like why shaved characters in general over non-shaved, genitally speaking.
You realize that like this is the preference for like I'm pretty sure a majority a majority of men, like the majority of male players probably prefer that. It's just like the server feels the need to be contrarian.
Do you think that's really the case? Because it feels like most like 50% of the like I think someone did the math on that, right? Where it's just like how many is it versus how many isn't it?
Well, it's like listen,
Thanks, Hex is running the numbers. Hex is fact checking us.
People keep memeing this about me. It's like I don't hate pubic hair. It's not just like the character's off the table because they have like pubic hair. I don't care. I do think
TBH or Japanese characters shouldn't be shaved.
I would
have fixed on DVA.
I do like shaved more. I think that's just because it's. I have a lot of reasons. Most important one is it's just like smooth and clean. Listen, I'm a hairy motherfucker.
Well, not on your head, but everywhere else, I guess.
Everywhere else, and I've lived with it my entire life.
It's the law of conservation. It's like point buy for characters. You just got to move elsewhere.
It's just like my arms have been fucking like gorillas ever since like 4th, 5th grade. Like girls used to tell me like your arms are really hairy, and I was like, yeah, I know.
Gorillian.
And I'm okay. No fucking shit. There's like more characters with pubic hair because
like any SE Asian girl.
That's of course like it's normal to have pubic hair. That's just like the base existence. You have to intentionally shave. So, but it's like an equal portion of like really hairy versus really shit, because it's also weird to not trim or groom yourself at all. That's also weird. Okay.
Yeah.
I know everyone comes in their pants on this server over like just like being a fucking jungle down there, but it is weird to not do anything. I mean, you might as well not cut your head hair at all either.
TFW no tentacles.
Anyway, on that disturbing note,
I just want some smooth skin, okay? Like I have to live my whole life just like, you know, hirsute and fucking hairy all over, and it's like there's no smooth surface on my body. just I just want a new experience.
When you get like a snake person that's just like, well, yeah, of course I wouldn't have hair. I don't have hair anywhere on my body.
I just want something that's not me, okay? I don't need more hair in my life.
Okay. So that was the question.
I can shave my whole body, Carbo, forever, and just be like stubbly all over.
Just like
I'm just gonna wax
that nice sandpapery feeling of like yesterday's shave. Easy.
Listen. I can live with my own hairiness. When it comes to a preference for Japanese cartoon characters, you know,
it's like slapping. You know, it's like slapping foliage together. You just gotta do it. Anyway, so bleh. So the next
from
question,
the Umbrella Academy. nmasp, do you know who that is?
I don't know what the Umbrella Academy is. I know Gerard Way wrote it, but that's about it. I know like Elliot Page is in it, and it was kind of obnoxious.
He's an ape.
There's a really good ape-man character in The Sinking City. But anyway, it's from a proud and noble lineage. Okay. So the next question is for Napsu. What is your advice for making skinwalkers?
IDK what a skinwalker is. Except that you can't talk at them.
You know, it's like Mark Zuckerberg and the Queen of England.
Or you get abducted by aliens.
You know,
oh, so like reptilians.
Yeah, they're like clearly synths, just like pretending to be human.
All comes back to snack.
OC dressed up as a not OC. It's real Navajo hours.
Again, like to mention, like I've made characters that have pubic hair. Revy has pubic hair. I was gonna make Ryuko with pubic hair, and then people told me to shave her.
Really? Well, yes. I guess that kind of makes sense for her, though.
Because you'd be able to tell. Mei and Juro were my only...
Like a Yano or...
Mei and Juro were my only, like, decisions there, and I like it, but I also did it because, like, their whole planet is about, like, being smooth and clean and sleek.
Oh, just think at the niche they serve in who they would probably be IRL. Then write that instead of whatever Yandiv says. Easy peasy.
I really just don't think that, like, Pokemon protagonists are good character choices.
I'd kind of agree with that, where it's like
I understand they're cute.
The design is good, but like
that's why you draw fan art of them. You don't put them in a game where they have to talk. That's the one thing they never do in their games is talk.
Yeah, I guess like I don't know. Like I think Napsu is answering the question, but it's like
sorry.
What are some of the examples of like skinwalkery characters? Like just people with like minimal, because like you can write a character with very minimal, you know, personality and expand on that. But I don't know how you can just like make something up whole cloth. Like that seems very difficult. Or maybe that's like the question.
They do have actual characterization in the manga. The problem is that no one has read the manga. Everyone sees Mei and assumes it's like Mei from the anime.
Just think of who is this for beyond character cute.
So everyone would be like, literally, who is this? Because like, even among like Pokemon fans, the manga is not super popular. It's kind of like a niche thing. So everyone would be like, well, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like Amy is just nmasp bait, so I made this beautiful pie of Bloodborne but had to be a DDLC character.
Yeah.
Also,
I
please
mean,
don't get the impression that like the manga is somehow like
better or
it's
valid or whatever.
well, it's cooler than the anime, but it's also just as stupid. Like the climax of like the Team Rocket arc in the first in like Red and Green is like they fuse all the birds together and create Zap Molkuno. It's so fucking stupid.
It need more examples. Apt what PPL want to do TBH, but W Ayano, I just wrote her as a girl raised by narcissists.
Cool. All right. So I hope everyone was happy with that answer. On to SPNanon, so we can just keep making our way through. We're about a quarter of the way done. SPNanon, why aren't you on the cast with your wife?
She's right there.
Yeah, man,
She's my profile picture.
There you go.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but Maya Gisborne is actually a two-dimensional Japanese cartoon character.
Wow, really?
So the fact that she is here in two-dimensional form means that she actually is here with me.
There you go. Makes sense to me. All right.
This is who she is.
It works for me. All right. To everyone, what's a character that you think best accomplishes what a dev set out to do? For example, it could be. I'll post this one in chat. Give me a second.
Could we have given like text to speech to someone less suited for it?
I mean, we could try, but for example, it could be a character that appeals to a target audience, occupies a niche, has a strong presence, or portrays a specific character. I think Jessie does a really, really good job of just like being a porn star. Like I know that's like really kind of cheap, but it makes like an infinite amount of sense to me. It's like if that's what you're going for, that's what you get, and that's what you want. And I think that works out really well. Is my take on that.
Oh, I have to think about this. I don't know. Napsu, do you have an answer?
Yeah. It's Amy. LMAO.
Like so slow and so fucking funny. And no, but like besides Amy, like you gotta pick something else.
Bernie emo.
Yeah, why
I
Bernie
think
though?
she gives
Oh.
big want to protect C energy, but is also neurotic. So we're a little like IDK if I want to do this but I feel obligated. So you still have agency.
Interesting take. I don't know. I think I think like maybe that's kind of like the indicator for like top line characters. Like anyone from like probably the top 20 or 30 or so tends to hit that niche really, really strongly. Like
I don't know. Don't you think they have more like general appeal at the top?
I do, but I think maybe that's like the mid tier level. Like maybe that's the I guess like Rin is like really high up there. So I imagine like whoever's there for Rin is doing exactly like, or well, they're not doing Rin, but they want exactly what Rin is going to put out.
I think a lot of the cast is sort of appealing on a general level, at least for like fans of the franchise they're from.
Right.
I don't know if any of them like. There's totally a recipe for success in there by going super niche and just hitting on it really hard. And like, if you have one, you should hit on it. I mean, like
that's exactly my design principle. It's like general appeal is like really great, but you have to find the thing that makes this character that character and just like go ham on it. And you
can do that and still have like general appeal. Mm-hmm. It can be something that's generally appealing, but you got to hit on it.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, like, look at Komi-san, right? Like, Komi-san's kind of a weirdo. Like, she's cute, but she's very weird. But I think the writing is really endearing, so she hits it really hard. Same thing like Polly, right? Like, people like to be weird. Like, to be fair, it's like it's kind of weird that you want to go fuck a ghost. Like, that's kind of weird. But like, Polly does a really great job with that, so that makes sense. Versus like, I think the good ones with like good general appeal are obviously like Nami or Jura or Cynthia, are just kind of like they're attractive and interesting in their own right, but not like as tailored as say I don't know, like Natsuki or Wicked P10 or Yuri or Fate, right? Even though they're up there pretty far.
When I think really niche and going hard on her niche, I'd think like Arafuda.
I think that's really niche. I would agree with that. I think
that's
Arafuda,
probably not general appeal, but I think
I would agree
she does her thing very well.
Or like N, right? Like N is kind of like that way too, or Kazuma or Chihiro.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically the boys. Hey, let's take a 5-minute break so I can top off on coffee. In the meantime, let's go ahead and open the floor up for a few questions. So ask some questions in chat. I'll pick 3 of them, and then we'll go back to the pre-submitted questions. So see y'all in about 5 minutes, and hope you're having a good New Year. Be right back. We have pizza at the door, so I need to go get that.
Well, I'm here.
Same LMAO.
If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little clever comment was about to bring down upon you. Maybe you would have held your fucking tongue, but you couldn't. You didn't, and now you're paying the price, you goddamn idiot. I will shit fury all over you, and you will drown in it. You're fucking dead, kiddo.
Well, I'm back. But yeah.
They asked me to do some ASMR.
I just and that you did. All right. Let's go ahead, and I see that there were a few questions in the chat. Let's go up and see what was asked in a little bit. Is it about time for more boiled pizza? No, boiled pizza is not a pleasant experience. I would not recommend it. Horse Killer asks, what gimmick is not yet in SPNatI but needs to be in? That's a good question. Let's see. SPNanon, any thoughts on this?
What was the question?
What gimmick is yet not in SPNatI but needs to be in?
Not yet in SPNatI? A gimmick, like a character's niche? I really don't go for gimmicks.
Yeah, but think about like a niche. I think there's one about niches and one about gimmicks. I think like what if we just did like split the difference, gimmick or niche?
Niche. I don't know. I feel like we got a pretty good spread. A lot of the niches would be like weird fetishes that are technically allowed, but no one's had the balls to send to the mods. I guess we had a piss girl, but she kind of was denied for other reasons.
I think someone like Dorian from DA3 where PPL lust after a char, but they are just not attracted to the character type, but this can lead to feels bad man.
I think Naps is saying like a character that's like just gay and is not like there for the straight characters. So, but I think that can lead to some degenerate gameplay. Not like in the sense of like, like in the sense that like making characters that are like explicitly not attracted to other characters in the game feels like it's kind of not great for that character's success in the long term. I mean, you can look at Franziska von Karma for an example of that. All right. So
if you're antagonistic towards the player without any appeal.
Yeah, that's that's kind of a niche, like someone who's just like there to like CBT you.
It's got to be appealing in some way. Like Franziska, like that, just like utterly despised the male character.
Yeah,
and just led them on.
This character is here to cuck you specifically, just like fuck you, player. I don't know. You can pick like Nagatoro,
just like flirt with every other character.
Yeah, Nagatoro just being like, yeah, you're fucking terrible.
Well, that's what I mean by like weird fetishes.
Yeah,
where you could do it, but
why would you?
I think we have most of like the general appeal.
Vor, there's no Vor character.
I guess I'm just not. I'm not super. I don't think about this a lot because
I'm not out there enough to have a good answer for this question.
I don't think about this a lot because I'm generally pretty satisfied with the characters the game gets.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Oh, I guess like a robot girl. We kind of have that with like Galatea and like a couple other characters, but like a character that goes really hard on like, I want to be like, I am a robot, but I want to learn about human sexuality. Can you tell what kind of characters I like?
Oh man, Eldorothy Wainwright from like Big O. I'd give her a Big O. You know, God, what a good character.
I just want like a Reploid girl from Mega Man.
Got it. Okay, so I'm going to answer Carvel's question, then we'll go on. We'll come back to Rinchan's question later, but we're going to hop back into the pre-asked question. So, fuck, marry, kill for Maya, Jura, and Revi. Definitely. Buddy Tebow. No, I did not see your question, unfortunately. Okay, if you, we'll come back. We'll add this to the queue. Mary Kill, Maya, Jura.
Rude.
I'd probably, wow, that's tough. I would probably marry Maya. I think Revi is the kill, just not for any reason other than like I feel like I would not be bodily intact after the fact. And like that means like I'd probably fuck Jura, because like I think marrying Jura is like does not sound like a fun time for me personally.
Revi's pretty much resigned to the fact that she's going to die soon anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know. I feel bad for Revi. Okay.
I don't feel like I can fix her though.
Yeah, with your penis.
I feel like I could fix the other two.
Cool.
With my
so next question is a controversial character that you like that is not Moon.
Hey, where's my fuck, marry, kill for namasp's girls? Which, by the way, namasp, you pretty much answered that exactly how I would have.
Yeah, I'm very predictable if nothing else. Yeah, actually, someone asked that for spnanon in the next batch of like open questions.
Namasp has like 15 girls, so you get to pick 3.
Yeah, pick 3 of them. Good options. So, controversial character that you like that is not Moon. I mean, are there really controversial characters that are not Moon? Like hot take is like, is any of these? Are any of these?
There's controversial characters that I don't like.
Right, but like, what's a controversial character that you do? I think is the. But like, I don't know what there's a controversial character like that. That's the problem. It's not like there's like a character that like, oh, like here's the hot take. Like I think Xander is fine. Like I think Xander's fucking hilarious because he's just hung on for so long.
Xander is like legitimately, we make fun of him, but he's not that bad.
No, he's fine.
He's just such a normal guy that there's nothing to say about him.
There's just normalcy.
So we just make him the big Bazinga man because there's nothing else to talk about. But it's fucking hilarious how long he's been here. And so, he's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, I'm like trying to go through the list, and there's like,
what are his play stats?
I don't know. I can't ethically report on that, but I could probably.
When have you ever been concerned with ethics?
I mean, I'm very concerned with ethics. It's the only way to live. Like a man's got to have principles.
A man chooses, a slave obeys. Leon, Adrian, Nines.
Good combo.
Why did you do this to me?
You know why? Oh, Katie Bot's muted, by the way.
Why?
I am being silenced.
Look at that. He got under an hour once.
NM. I like Critical Darling a lot.
I don't know if she's controversial other than not being Ibuki Miyota. She seems like generally pretty liked.
BCUZIDC apt dang it Ron Paul.
Wow, that readout gave me a stroke. That was pretty bad.
On the contrary, Cavendish, a lot of people like Tharja.
Yeah.
Way too many people like Tharja. It's very distressing.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for this, to be honest. I don't think there's any character I think there's just very few characters in SPNatI that are like controversial or kind of bad. I think like I don't know, like maybe Chaz. Like I really like Chaz because the meme appeal is really strong.
I don't like meme appeal.
I like the meme appeal.
Memes age like milk.
Unless you're the Chaz, that's fine. Fucking wine.
I prefer my milk straight from the tap.
Beating up children is morally correct, though. Like the children are our future unless we stop them now.
Is that nmasp? Is that him?
It's the nmasp. That's right. I look like a very handsome Asian dude in a leather jacket. That's me, definitely. All right. So, question for spnanon. What's your take on the new devs joining this year? Any characters that you consider a highlight of the year?
Oh God, I have to pick favorites.
No. What is your take on all the new devs? Like, are any characters you consider a highlight of the year? If like you don't have to answer, but it's a good answer to give.
Well, like I said before, I love all the new talent that's coming in. I think it's a great sign of things to come, and I really hope all these people stay. Just Kidding kind of disappeared for the middle
Kumatora as GR8. Go Corgi.
of the fall. Oh yeah, Kumatora is super good.
Yeah,
It was like a team effort though, but a not really nice first effort by Corey. He's like taken really good advice, or like he's listened to feedback. So much so that like by
Also,
the time
Blue
that our podcast,
JPLS unhook me as you like.
by the time our podcast like feedback came out before he had like already addressed it.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. So Just Kidding was absent for most of like winter, but like Ishtola is super good, and so is Bobobo. And the fact that they have that range right out of the gate is really impressive.
Like, that's like crazy. Like Y'shtola and like
Y'shtola is like a real character.
Yeah,
it's like serious.
Yeah, it's super like I'm like ow. Like it's good. They're both good characters. What they're
How can you have like that much concentrated meme energy and then also just here's a normal character?
Yeah, it's good stuff. Okay. So
like, I'm surprised. Like Y'shtola has like I've never heard of her, and she has like a pretty genuinely big fan base. Like I see just people post like random pictures of her, like on 4chan or whatever. People like her.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Here's one for Napsu. Do you believe that Hu Tao has the chance to get to the top of the roster, dethroning Name and Maya?
Yes.
Well, all that happens that has to happen is like so the CCP has to pull some strings.
No.
Any other thoughts on that?
Honestly, I would consider Hu Tao to have pretty niche appeal. I guess she's like a gremlin, short gremlin. Those are in fashion, but just the whole like a burial and death thing, that's kind of niche. I don't know if that's super general appeal.
PPL underestimate the gremlin power.
I feel like you're underestimating the power of like a big tit bikini bitch in jeans.
I do not underestimate how much PPL like Genshin Impact.
I guess. I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't really hear about it that much if it wasn't for the server. But like I don't know, people know One Piece.
Because you're such a fucking boomer. Anyway, we'll see. We'll see.
Who's calling who a boomer, asshole?
Fuck you.
You fucking disintegrated into a corpse like fucking Donovan from the Last Crusade last time when I said panty and stocking was from 2009.
Both ancient. Let's move on.
You're older than both of us.
Shut up. Mega rude.
Napsu, okay. You're like old enough to be my like homeroom teacher.
Okay.
I'll school you on the resort.
I have not been.
You little bastard.
I have not been doing much work, so that might be a possibility.
And we'll see. I don't know. I think Hu Tao has a chance to hit to somewhere up there. I don't know if she's going to hit row 1, but we'll see what happens.
Her whole thing is being 6 feet under.
Yeah, it's 6 feet under. All right, so if you could choose
how do I air combo vertically challenged individuals?
I'll teach you my ultimate secret technique after the podcast. All right, so if you could choose for everyone, if you could choose a retired dev to return, which one would you want back the most?
A former dev?
Yeah, who like quit developing. Well, Cog's back, so
I know we got a lot of like revivals. Vision came back. Zeus came back. No one's ever really gone.
I miss Thursdays. I'd love to see more Thursdays dev.
I wish Black didn't have a meltdown. So he could like
Yeah.
update Jolene for the Part 6 anime. Oh yeah, Yuri Space Pirate, obviously. Bring her back. She's been
I
gone so
miss
long, I forgot about her.
YSP.
Like Tears and Rain.
Yeah, Yuri Space Pirate, we miss you.
That's the thing about leaving. Everyone, you think that they'll miss you when you're gone, and they kind of do, but they just kind of forget after a while.
Like I'd
Absence
say,
makes the heart go yonder.
oh, Beta for sure. Beta for sure.
Beta's been gone long enough that now when we say Beta, we mean someone else.
Beta PLS.
We have a new Beta.
DVA needs you.
DVA.
I think Beta is living his best life. I think like Joe is also living his best life on other stuff too, which is good. But
Yeah, I don't
I think,
think they're like in a bad place.
no,
in
I think
life.
like people like I think the people that left generally leave on good terms. I think it's not so much like a yeah, who will be the next nmasp after nmasp retires? I don't know. It's like you need someone who writes just like a shitload of characters. So we'll
Nord,
see. Nord's the next nmasp. Good call. Good call. I can agree
if
with
I
that.
may, he adopts a lot of projects too.
Yeah, if I think like Nord has like a more throughput track record of like taking things and finishing them though. So it's like I think if I may does a great job picking up stuff, but I think Nord like finishes it, which is not an indictment of if I may by any extent, but just like Nord like just does stuff. Like Nord just like does things, and it's very impressive. Um, cool. All right. If you choose to spnanon, do you think you'll ever make a fifth character? That's for you.
I've been playing catch up so long on like the three that I want to update that I mean I'm not gonna say it's not a possibility. Like again, when I get to that point where updating them is a fairly simple amount of work, I could see it. I just there's no one that's particularly strong in my mind.
Yeah, I think Leon and Sucrose were personally just like accidents for me too. So I if you did a fifth character, I would be surprised.
There's
You got
there's just
three.
there's just not a lot. I just don't really have anyone that like, oh yeah, I really want to see them in there, and I'm
Right.
like really excited to write them. I was kind of thinking like before I read part 6 of JoJo, I was thinking maybe like adopt Jolene, like if someone's making like a new Jolene or something, since the old one's not getting updated. But I didn't dislike her, but I felt like there wasn't a whole lot to work with. Also,
Yeah, I got
I
you.
wasn't sure about that. It's kind of my type.
They are LMAO. I listened to him talk apt it.
What's that? Oh, Viz made a comment. It's like, Mask, you say that as if they're your children. Ah, sorry, you were an accident.
It's just in the heat of passion, he just like pumps out 1,000 lines.
Yeah, just what if one does what one must. Okay. So span on another question. Is there a reason that there aren't many ACO threads anymore? Is it true that it's because the community developed a strong 4chan, anti-4chan sentiment in the last year? I don't think the community's ever had a strong pro 4chan sentiment. I don't think 4chan's as bad as people make it out to be, but I also think that
it kind of is. But
I mean, but the thing is, it's like it's about like tolerance towards like how much like inane bullshit can you deal with, and I don't know. Like I think the 4chan threads are always really exciting, and we got a lot of good content creators from that.
I mean, the reason I haven't done it as much is just because like they just haven't been getting a lot of attention.
Or when they do, it's a lot of people just kind of like snide posting in the background.
Yeah, like I pay attention to their progress, very closely, and like a lot of them they just like keep slipping to page 10 over and over, and you have to bump them, and a lot of the bumps just seem to be people from here
Just shit posting, basically.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the point of this?
Right.
Like the whole point is to like engage a new audience and to get more people. But I don't know if like ACO's user base is just not that big and everyone's seen the threads already. But I just don't see a lot of engagement. I'm planning on making a new one soon, but obviously I might start to phase them out.
Explain fear boners.
I might start to phase them out after a while, just because like they're just not getting a lot of activity.
it's a good threat on occasion, but it's like I don't know. I feel like if you can't shit talk someone to their face, like, is there any value in saying it at all?
It's like, and like since I found Natty on 4chan, and like since like in the years since, like the site has only gotten worse. It was already pretty bad in 2017 because of like the 2016 election just completely torpedoed that site.
Yeah,
it's now literally just like an insane asylum.
You honestly think fucking crazy?
Okay, so hot scary person is scary. Makes me go ooga booga. They become my favorite character.
So Blue Jay has entered Blue Jay and Napsu formed a hive mind. This
like
bodes well.
The quality of like the 4chan user base just like goes down every year.
It's like I remember like liking 4chan a lot when I was like, I don't understand any of this shit from like fourth, like I don't know, like 2003, 2004, whenever 4chan. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
There's just less and less value to them with every new thread.
Agreed. Okay, so anyway.
Also, I just realized like you could totally like anyone can use the text to speech bot, so anyone can just like LARP as Napsu.
Yeah,
and
please.
Casual viewers will not know the difference.
Yeah, please don't do this though. It's very.
You are all Napsu.
It creates a negative system. Okay, it's the next question is. Oh, that's really cute, actually. All right, but I'm going to skip it. Anyway, what is your most ambitious project that you've done for the game? Not limited to characters either.
Can someone post that?
Oh, okay. Sorry. What is your most ambitious project you've done for the game?
Ambitious?
Yeah, most ambitious. Like, I guess the thing that like you wanted to like reach the furthest with.
Maya. I just like what I want to do the most with. Probably most ambitious in the sense that like it's a stoic character, and those are
TBH Amy or Hu Dao or Senko. Like they all do diff things, but Hu Dao is designed to win resorts, but Amy is by far the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm by far the hardest for Amy too, but sorry, Spano, you were saying?
I think she's typing some more.
No, I'm looking at her right now. She's not typing. She's going to wait for you to talk.
I feel like as far as ambition goes, I don't know if I ever put out like a big mission statement of like this is like I'm gonna accomplish this with this character. It's just I like this character, so I'm just gonna put them in the game. I think ambition just comes after the fact. I think it's like what else can I do with this character? Although people do say like stoic characters are pretty much always the hardest to write, which I guess is true. Like the lines don't come as easy for her, but I also find that more rewarding.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I think for me it's kind of like I think the Marinette Adrian stuff is pretty wide reaching. It's just the problem is like getting Marinette back into the game is a lot harder than I expected it to be, just because there's a lot of like pipeline, or I guess it would be pipelines now. There's a lot of Photoshop work goes into Marinette's costume. Marinette's tone is actually a lot harder for me to write these days than it used to be, because I think like I got a better grasp on like what her voice actually is, and not just like
me too,
weird stutter girl.
Dude, I used to pump out lines for May a lot more, and now I'm like, no, that's not right. She wouldn't say that.
Like Adrian's
this
great.
Is the curse.
Like
this is the curse of knowledge.
Yeah, I think like Adrian's really strong on his own, which is kind of nice. I'm really happy about that. But I think like once I get Marinette back in the game, I think that's the most ambitious, because it's kind of like it took far longer than I really intended it to. But it's like rewriting 3,000 bad lines to make them 6,000 good lines, while also incorporating like context for all these other things is pretty ambitious. I think like honestly, the big thing is like this project of making my characters and Napsu's characters interact very substantially, leaning into kind of the retirement and being able to take like 4 of them like at your leisure and play them all on the same table and have like a really positive experience with that is it's not there yet, but that's kind of the most ambitious project.
I'm rooting for you, man. That's really hard to do.
So question 4,
it's just exponential.
It really is, and I'm just like, I'm a fucking moron. But we'll get there. Okay, so this one's for me and Napsu. It's what is your favorite physical feature of the other person? And I'm like, well, this is very, very, very cute, but very personal.
Eyes.
Oh, thank you. I physical feet, I like a lot of things about my wife, but I think for physical features, I think she has a really cute face and really cute voice, even though she's not sharing it right now. So that's I'm very embarrassed, and I want to move on to the next question. So I'm going to do that. For each of you, if you could restart one character from a clean slate, as in no one remembers the original, what would you do? And if so, what character would you choose? So it's like if you could start from blank slate with a character, what would you do? For me, I'd probably. That's tough. Who would I do again? And no one would remember the original. Spnanon, what do you think? I think Naps is just furiously trying to get Amy onto this.
It's Amy.
Blank slate,
To
and no one would
troll
remember the
again
original.
would be magical.
Is this only for characters you've made?
Yeah, only for characters you've made.
I feel like a lot of my problems with voice and tone, they're just frustrating because if they're baked into old targets, then they're just kind of set in stone and you can't change anything about it now. There's just some, I haven't made that many girls, so obviously it'd be like Marriage or whatever. I just, some of the mistakes in voice that kind of created these widespread misinterpretations of how old they are or whatever. It's just stuff like that.
I think I would probably do Marinette. But I think that's basically what's going to be the de facto reality is no one's really going to remember the old Marinette except people liked her. So I'd probably do that. Napsu is just I just want to repeat the past, basically. Okay, so this one's for me. To nmasp was the air, speed, velocity, but only didn't swallow. I don't really like Monty Python. I found Monty Python incredibly insufferable, in high school. So I'm not going to answer this question.
The peregrine falcon is 250 miles an hour or something.
I guess, sure. All right, SPNanon, if you go back in time and do something different with Maya and Jura, what would it be? And not art or technical limitations of early SPNatI. What would you do differently with the two of them?
Didn't I just answer this question?
You did, but this is the specific version.
It's not,
you can skip it, say I already answered that, and then keep moving.
I don't think my answer would be vastly different with more details. It's just kind of maybe I guess just studying the source material better, getting a feel for how. I think one of the things that's easy to forget is how this is the player's only exposure to the character, so they don't have all the mental context that you do for the decisions you make. So if you write them as being in a particularly good mood, all the player knows is this is how the character always is to everyone. And at the same time, if you have memories of the character treating someone a certain way or talking in a very cutesy way to someone that's shorter than they are or they have a lot of leverage over, that doesn't mean that they talk to everyone like that. That's not how they would address someone who's older than they are. You gotta really think about them and don't just work off of really small clips or bits and pieces of their personality that are steeped in all this context. You gotta think about what is the person underneath this? How would the person treat someone or address someone who's got a significant amount of power over them or is older than they are or is kind of weirding them out? They wouldn't use the same words, they wouldn't talk the same way. They wouldn't just have one personality trait. I think that's it.
It's a good response. Okay. Small little break. SPNanon, if you can call up some questions for from the audience, then we'll hop back in. There's a bunch of napsu questions ahead, but we have some general ones left too. So
we can take a break. I can do the fuck, marry, kill for the boys you made.
cool. Well, I want to hear the answer to that. So give me a second. I gotta go pee. But like, if you can pull together like 3 or 4 questions, then when I'm back, we'll hop back in.
Oh, cool. I can scroll back and look.
Cool.
Let's
see you in a second.
I don't know. Scrolling back, I only really found these 2. If we missed your question, I guess you can repost it here.
What's up? All right. What do you do while working to keep concentrated? / how much do you generally work in a day?
Enjoying some pizza?
Pretty much. Peeing and getting some pizza.
Could so go for some pizza right now.
Circle of life. What do you do to keep concentrated? How much do you generally work in a day? Man, that's a big question because you can talk about like professional life too there. For me, I just think it's like setting aside, like you gotta have dedicated time. And I think
Absolutely.
there's this you know, whether you agree with this or you don't, like I think the practical reality is in the modern era, you're only given so many hours in a day, and like the value of those hours is dependent a lot on like what you do, you know, in terms of your personal responsibilities, your professional responsibilities, and so on and so forth. So I think it makes it like really critical to put time on your calendar, you know, metaphorically or literally, to do things you actually like doing. And you know, the degree to which you're able to accomplish that is going to be dependent on many, many different factors. But I think saying like, during this hour, I'm going to be doing this thing, whether that's, you know, I'm going to write SPNatI or I'm going to do this or I'm going to go for a run, like, is really important. Like, I don't think you can compartmentalize your entire life into like 1 hour blocks. But I think when it comes to like hobby work or something that requires like time investment, you need to put time for yourself in your structure. So for me, knowing that like I have 30 minutes to do this thing and not like, I'm just going to pick it up and kind of fill in the blank as I do it, is you know, kind of my advice. As far as like how much do I generally work in a day, that depends. But I like to say, with, you know, some very clear exceptions, like I like to do like maybe 30 minutes of SPNatI work a day if I feel like it. But I also have like a block of general hobby time that I'm going to do something hobby related for the entire block, not like, you know, particularly I'm going to go paint models or I'm going to go for a run. I'm going to like, I leave it open what I'm going to be doing, but I set aside that time.
I agree. Just like having a routine. I think like not just like in hobby work, but just in your general life, having like something that's the same every day or that you do the same way at like the same time every day. I think that's just like a big secret to like KD bot is muted. It's a big secret to like health in general.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that testimonial from like people that are like super ancient old.
Yeah.
Like not Betty White, unfortunately. Like people who have lived over 100.
Mm-hmm.
Like their secret is they just like have a strong routine. I think like if your body just like knows what to expect at the same time every day, just have like a ritual. I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
It's still muted.
Yeah, bummer.
Yeah, like I usually start writing at night or like in the evening or something. So like the environment is the same. I'm pretty comfortable at night. Like, you know, my workspace all looks the same. I feel like you have to really train yourself in that way. Like your brain requires a lot of context to like not be distracted.
Yeah.
Or like to get in the right state of mind. I think I heard this advice in like college too, where they like if you're stressing about an exam, some kids used to say like you should like go to the testing room when it's empty at like the same time of day that the exam is, and just like train yourself to like be in that mindset at that time of day. And it's that same sort of thing. Just give yourself something like that, because if you're constantly like switching gears all the time, you get burned out because your body just doesn't know what to do. We're just animals. We're just crawling around on the dirt here. It needs a rhythm.
I think TTS is unfortunately broken. Napsu
has been silenced.
So what she's saying, what Namsu is saying is that concentration is difficult, but you kind of have to just take advantage of the time that you do have. So a little bit different than spnanon and I. But I think that what her sentiment is basically motivation's fleeting. Like I think spnanon and I are very much at the mindset that like you have to discipline yourself into doing the thing even if it's difficult. Whereas I think Napsu is basically saying like you're not always going to be motivated. So you just got to kind of do it when it's when you feel like doing it, you should do it. You shouldn't just be like, well, I feel like doing it, but that means I'll feel like I'm going to do it later, as far as I'm understanding it.
I would just say, like, do not externalize things like motivation or inspiration, or you're just going to be, like, sitting around waiting for it to come.
Yeah. Like, I think it's sort of like...
I hate the phrase, like, writer's block. Oh, I have writer's block. I can't do anything because of my writer's block. It's like, no, motherfucker, just write something.
Right, like it's like you write shitty lines. Like everyone writes shitty things, but like if you want to get
then
into
you have
it, you gotta,
something to work with, and you can fix it. Just write anything. Like I don't sit down and write Maya and be like, oh, I'm not motivated today. I'm just gonna. I just sit down and it's like, well, I got to do this, and I've written this many lines already. I know I'm capable of doing this, so I'm just gonna do it again. And again, it's like I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
As for like the amount, it used to be a lot more. I care a lot more about like quality now than volume, just because I thought that my focus on volume was harming quality in a lot of ways. As far as like, okay, like how much I've settled on like, I think like 30 lines a day when I'm like focused and like putting out an update each day and like my workflow is good. I think 30 lines is like a pretty reasonable like day's work. It's hard to quantify art. I'd say like as far as quantifying art goes, like either pumping out a couple variations on a pose you've created or like is a day's work, or even like making a new pose but just taking the time to make it really good. And like even if it's just one pose, you can make variations on it later. So just taking that day to make that one really good pose, I think that'll add up quick.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Just doing it right is more important than doing it fast.
Let's go to the fuck, marry, kill for my male characters. Just while we get the TTS fixed, apparently.
Fuck, marry, kill Leon, Adrian, and 9S.
Oh, it works. It works. Yeah, all right, cool. Go. What you got?
Well, I don't really know all of 9S's capabilities. Can he like mimic 2B's voice or something?
Probably.
I don't know. Fuck 9S. He's the most feminine. It's pretty close. It's pretty close tie with Adrian and 9S. It's almost a girl. Leon seems like a pretty stand-up guy. He seems pretty reliable. You could marry him.
Leon M. Adrian K. 9SBCUZ, he wants it.
It's a dark take, but not
Adrian probably kill. I've skinned a fair few cats in my time. I've tied him up in a bag and thrown him in the river Seine.
Got him LMAO.
Leon seems like a pretty reliable husband.
Yeah,
exactly. That's perfect. It'll just like imagine the reaction to like. Imagine Chris Redfield's reaction to like Leon's gay wedding.
God damn it! No. Yeah. Okay.
Just donate some sperm.
Let's see. Carbel has a question. So there's some ask for advice to new devs. There's some questions like that. They're already in the queue, so we'll touch those when we get to it.
I'm fine just being the odd couple with Leon.
There you go.
We were a civil union. It's for tax purposes.
All right, so we'll take Carbel's question, then we'll hop back into the preamble. This is for spnanon, but we'll take it for everyone. What's your take on the limits of accurate characterization of game prompts, i.e. characters saying, no, I won't do this, I won't stand for what this other character is doing, I refuse to play in the situation? I'll go in with my opinion on this, where it's like, first of all, like, characters shouldn't be engineering situations that are, like, deeply uncomfortable for other people. That's sort of a problem with the character doing it more than it is the problem with the receiving character, as it were. But at the same time, it's like Arndris has this quote where it's just like, characters can leave whenever they want, but SPNatI is a story of like why they say or why they stay. And I think that's generally true here, where it's just like, you know, we've turned this into a meme where it's just like everyone can kick Revi's ass, but it's also just like not really the point. And I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is like, just because your characters could kick someone else's ass doesn't mean that it's like that's what you should think of them doing in those scenarios. So I don't know.
It's the story of why they strip and masturbate and don't kill each other.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I feel like everyone just wants to like make characters fight, and the reason I made May and Revi fight is because they're on like a similar power level.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a fist fight. It's not like they blow the inventory up.
IDK fighting is not why the game is here.
Yeah.
Character should just deal W it.
Deal W it.
Deal W it. Like they don't have to bang. They do have to not fight.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
Sips water, Zuck.
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 Is this specifically like characters leaving?
No, I think it's just more general, like,
because
what do you do if like the other characters are fighting or like something is like happening that they're not cool with? I think like it could be characters leaving, but you know,
I actually kind of low key agree that characters should not leave. It's kind of funny when Natsuki does it, but
yeah,
if the choice was between like we have to come up with all these convoluted rules about like who can and can't leave and or just say you're not allowed to leave, I'd rather just the latter.
Yeah, you know, in retrospect, it's like I think like Natsuki is like leaving for the daddy thing is like really funny, but I also think that it's like
it's
I don't know, like
if
I were
not
going to
played
do it
for laughs though.
It's like it's played very seriously, but I think like if I were going to do it again, I probably like would change it to be something else and just have her be like a phenomenal asshole to like.
That's what I mean.
Like if I were gonna like, I'm happy with what I did. Like I don't regret doing it, but I think like if I were to do it again, I would probably change that. But I'm not going to. So
I think that leaving that sobbing reaction was honestly kind of the wrong move.
Yeah.
I think if you're naming yourself daddy in front of Natsuki, you're probably trying to get that kind of reaction out of her. And like I think you already solved this with Futaba. I think she did it right.
I think the daddy thing is hilarious.
I think Futaba did it right, where if you name yourself Master or whatever, she just becomes a squidling or an inkling and just fucks with you. Like that's what Natsuki like. Just troll the player. Like do not legitimize the player or like or just give them the satisfaction. Like if you think it's worthy of mockery, then you should mock them.
Yeah.
Just do anything but leave. Just fucking troll them. Just have her turn into like Buffsky the whole time.
Buffsky the whole time, just like
or show like naked Buffsky.
God, that's weird. I don't want to think about that. Okay, so the next question is: with tons of great features recently added, such as equipable collectibles, do you think we're ready for players to have personality tags to choose from? I mean, yeah, like I don't see why not.
IDK. I don't RLY worry apt player too much.
Oh, what is this about? Player personality tags?
They are there to watch mostly.
I kind of agree that I super just do not care about the player at all. I think you take your fucking generic lines aimed at you and be happy with that, motherfucker. Like that's plenty.
I think there's something to be said about like you want to like immerse the character, but I think that's like
I'm not against it.
Yeah, not every character needs to be that, right? Like it's not like I'm writing the character because the character is fun to write, not because I need the character for wish fulfillment.
Yeah, I personally would not engage with it very much, but at the same time, like
I think Sayori should really do it. Like Sayori should absolutely be more engaged with the player's tags, but you know that's one character, not you know.
It's just one of those things where I really hope there isn't an expectation then that
this character didn't start. Yeah, everyone wants to bang the player character. I'm like, you know, at some level, it's like I think your character shouldn't be hostile to the player character unless like that's the point.
No,
But,
I'm
yeah.
fine. I'm fine with being player sexual. It's just like having to really engage
Right.
with the tags. Like, why don't they react to me being fat? It's because I don't care.
Because I don't care. Neither does the character. They love you just the way you are. All right. All of you are really good at writing targets. What's your advice for how to write lots of good targets for both new and old devs? So there's like kind of like two. Yeah, practice, I think, is a good answer. For me, I think for newer devs, it's like, this is tricky because I think in some ways, like if you're a newer dev, you have two things working against you. The first thing is like you don't have a lot of, for lack of a better term, credibility to your name. And I think with that in mind, when you go write targeted lines, you have to do it in a way that like is somewhat unique, and it's not the same questions that every character has been asked. My good advice here is like if you're a newer writer, target other newer writers and newer creators. Like that is like actually the best advice I can give you, because that way you and a peer can kind of build your name together. For older writers, I think it's the same thing of like, I'd rather you not target my character than have you target my character with something that's like everyone says, and then just like be sad that I didn't respond to you. And I think it's kind of like it goes both ways, right? Where, you know, I don't know, like Natsuki talking to Trixie is going to have a different set of reactions than like Leon talking to Trixie. And by the same token, like Trixie targeting one or both those characters is going to be different. And yeah, for established developers, I think the trick is like do something novel that makes the game, like that exploits the medium really well. For newer creators, target other newer characters. And also, you know, just ask questions, I think, and don't be afraid to lean into the more horny lines, I think, is the biggest advice I'd give you. Is like not every line needs to be like dripping with thirst. But I do think that like newer authors tend to be either way too horny or like definitely not horny enough. And I think the game is here for like the sex aspects.
I think a good target is a lot like a good generic line. Ask yourself, is this something that anyone could say to this character?
Yeah.
Find out what character has too thirst over in other chars, then do that.
Again, and it's like they're not super different from each other. Like again, like generic lines early, introduce yourself. You know, generic and target. You know, establish your world a little bit more. Establish your personality. Later stages, be horny. Don't target them about their dead family.
When they're
getting their tits out.
Yeah.
This can be a friend or a sexy thing, but the dynamic should be exciting and different.
You should target, damn, look at them titties.
Right.
You know, something, you know, specifically your character likes about those titties.
Cowards all. Write more horny.
Yeah, horny's always good. I feel like a lot of if I had to criticize
or estrogen, testosterone.
If I had to criticize something about a lot of the newer writers, I think they're a little too skeevy about this being a porn game. They're trying to treat it a little too seriously.
Talk apt Trixie bouncing on the dick.
Yeah. Like, you're writing smut. Just accept it. It's okay for these characters to want to fuck.
Misaka is electrified by the vulva.
Oh yeah, is Misaka into like electro play?
Yes, I think she's electrical.
Is it Misaka or Misaka?
Misaka, I think. Okay, so that's kind of those are I think our advices.
Yeah, that's probably a little too much porn parody.
Yeah.
Well, it's all about how it's done, really.
Just write the lewds.
Yeah, like that's my advice.
Easy peasy.
Oh my god, I got that right. That's a good generic is a good target. A good target is a good generic. They're not that different from each other. Just be unique.
Yeah.
Just think about, like, instead of the obvious reaction, what is something that only that like your character specifically would have a reaction to? And just like try to, it's like improv, you know, you want to like give them something to work with. Don't just like talk about something like, this reminds me of such and such, my friend that you don't know.
There's actually a similar question. There's actually a similar question about that later that's kind of calling me and Napsu out. So We'll see.
Yeah. Give
Anyway,
them something. Give them, it's a tennis volley. It's or a rally, back and forth. Just give them something to hit,
got
like a
it.
question or an opinion. Same thing. Same like generic targets. Like have an opinion. Have an opinion on the character.
What's a best? Okay, new question. What's a best practice you've seen people using recently when making SPNatI characters that you would encourage more people to do? Um, for me, it's like I think Bluecoin started this, so credit to him. And then I know Phonebox adopted this as well. But like color coding lines with outstanding responses is really, really strong. I've seen a few people doing that. I haven't really gotten the hang of it yet.
I
But I
should
think
do
that
that, but
I think
I'm
that's I
lazy.
think that's a great idea. I think that's so fucking good.
That is a great idea. The only problem is I would forget the most recent ones when I have to change them back.
Yeah.
Use
I
same
guess,
text
like,
TBH.
I guess I should do that. Maybe I should probably start doing that.
Not all things need markers.
My
Cry apt it.
my general markers are very good. Don't listen to napsu. I think what I do. Oh fuck! I lost my train of thought. What was I talking?
What's a new thing people are doing that you really like?
Oh yeah, the color coded lines. I think what I normally do is I just use the GitHub desktop. Like
Uh-huh.
I just check what lines are new that way. I just look at the changes. I look at the diff.
Got it.
That's what I recommend doing for people. I mean, there's nothing more obvious than that. Just control F your character in the update. So you do need to keep track of like what updates are target your character, but as long as you do that, like it's all right there in the diff.
Yeah, but don't need to rewrite.
You don't need to rewrite if you just do it on
Just
the.
do it right
yeah.
or don't do it.
Yeah, do it right the first time. It's always the
Get
good
God.
answer.
Anyway, so
There's no better advice.
just get good. But I mean, you gotta try things. Like you can't just be like, oh, just get good. Like you gotta go like fuck things up a little bit first. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
I guess that means like take your time when you're doing it the first time to make sure you're
Yeah,
doing it right.
I think that's kind of what it means, where it's like, I don't know, I'll let Napsu like finish the conversation, but I think the point that I would try and make is like you gotta like not like you have to be intentful without caring too much. I think is like my take on this, where it's like don't write a line just to write it because it makes sense in context, but like don't be afraid to like I don't know, like the analogy that I like to use is create the line that you want to write and then just like let that be and let that be part of your journey. Like you don't need to come back and revise later. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do have to do it.
Ya what nmasp said. Just do it and you can redo it L8R. But in a BTR version.
Okay, so spin-on question for you. You may have answered this before, but how much are you actually into Vandred? What got you into it?
I've discussed this many times, but it's just
Yeah.
I am nothing if not an enigma. Like I said, like I am not actually super old. I did not see Vandred when it came out in 2000. I was like a toddler. I would have been a little young for that end credits sequence that it has with Jura's areolas.
Try your best. NRBTR will get good over time.
NRBTR.
NTR.
NRNTR, yeah.
I think it's just I first got exposed to it. I was just like searching like games on Newgrounds because that's what you did back in 2010, and there was like Vandred Love Quest, like this flash game. It's like so men and women they don't know each other, so obviously you bang. It's like, is this some kind of porno that they made a game out of?
Pretty much,
So I looked it
right?
up. I looked it up and it wasn't a porno, but it was like nice. It's kind of nice. I was charmed. I think that's the most. I think that's the most I can say for it is that even like a cynical, horny, like 14 to 16-year-old heart was warmed by this charming little mecha show, despite it not being a porno. Didn't just immediately drop it. I don't know. I like Star Trek. It's got a lot of like Star Trek influence. I like space and like speculative future and that sort
I
of
like
thing.
space.
I like
And I fucking love space.
the the humans through alien eyes. Not that they're aliens, but they have sort of an alien perspective. I just
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. Space exploration. And it was like that was the first time I saw like just like straight up watched a full anime series. Like obviously I'd been exposed to like Dragon Ball Z and stuff, but I didn't like watch the whole series until later. So that was the first time I just like sat down and watched an anime. It's like it's kind of nice. I think if you try to watch it now, it's like it's weird because it's simultaneously like it's very tropey and it's got like anime cliches and melodrama in it, but it's also it kind of like exists in between genres because it was like it's 2000. It was kind of like a weird transition period. There's like CGI, so
Yeah.
it's kind of all over the place. And if you go back to it now, I think if you're really cynical about a lot of those like anime tropes and you've seen a lot of anime already, you're not going to get too much out of it. But if it's like it's a very good like first anime to ever watch because it's like a complete story and it's got like good closure and it's got like anime storytelling tropes, but that gives you kind of a sense for like how anime is. And I think like that's a lot of the fans that are still around and like remember watching it on TV. They talk about how it was like one of the first anime they've ever seen. And I think it's just like a good introduction to like anime or to mecha or whatever. Just because it has all those tropes. So yeah, it has a place in my heart. And I think Maya in particular is just like a really strong character. I think because I just think she's like not just a stereotype or an archetype. I think she's got a lot going on, and like it's not just like a pure genre show.
Yeah, I think those are all some good takes. All right, so next one's for napsu. I've always tried to pin down what napsu bait is, but could never figure it out with your wide array of characters. What makes a character really speak to you? So she's typing. She's typing. It's kind of weird because I can just like watch her very intently focused on her screen typing, and I'm just like,
what is an insta goblin?
I think an insta goblin is like
Napsubate in writing. I think you know it when you see it. I just like chars that are RLY flavorful and weird. It's a character I would like to know more apt, or RRLY cute, pretty. Like, IRLY like fiscal a lot. Same W sucrose. I am not RLY a tasteful person.
It's the end of the fiscal year.
Napsubate in thirstiness. I think it's the types I target a lot, so you can figure it out. E.g. Leon.
I think Napsu and I have quite different tastes. I don't know. I feel like our targets are never quite gelled.
PLS save me Mr. Kennedy. Leon is just boy MEIA.
Damn, it didn't even try with Maya.
wow.
MEIA. Didn't even try.
Hot takes.
Didn't even try.
Did not even try. Okay. So
no
next,
Mia, no Maya.
no Maya. Okay. Made it. Let's see. Okay, nmasp. When writing generics in large batches like you did with Leon, what was your method of tackling it? Did you just go down the cases or maybe in a specific order? My biggest tip on this is like, yeah, basically just go down it in order. Something when I try, I'll do like, male removing accessory, male removed accessory, just kind of down the line. I can get a little tedious. So what I've done on occasion is like jump between cases. Like I'll do, removing accessory, removed accessory, then drop down to like some of the more exciting lines. Like what I will say is that the first sets of lines are always like the worst in terms of difficulty. So just like go do that stuff. But yeah. So TLDR is just like just keep going and like kind of turn your brain off and just write. It's not really that complicated because people aren't really gonna like, as long as your generics aren't terrible, it's not what people are playing you for, and you gotta just save some energy for the good stuff. But I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying is like don't stress too much over it and find a method that works for you. If you like jumping around a lot, do that. If you want to just kind of crank through cases at a time, do that too. I hope that was a little helpful.
I totally go in order. I think that's just I don't know. I think it disciplines you because you have to deal with the boring stuff first.
Yeah.
And it built. It's like jerking you off, It's like you gotta get through the boring stuff. You got the build up. Starts to get a little better with the showing some skin, and then you get the nudity reveals. Then you get the masturbation, which hopefully be the most fun lines to write or the easiest.
Agreed.
And then you finish yourself off and you kind of wind down with like some game over lines.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's see. To napsu. All right, so to napsu's got like 6 questions in here, so I'm trying to spread these out a little bit. Why do you enjoy making characters that you aren't sexually attracted to?
I just like winning. It's not that complicated, but it like RP. You make chars that are fun to write. Not necessarily to make smut. But it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to that, to be honest.
You say not necessarily to make smut, and yet you have very consistently praised forfeit dialogue.
Well, yeah, BCUZ, it's fun to write. And it's the medium. I don't write a children's book apt bukkake. Or the hungry caterpillar in SPNATI. The Bobbin Goblin Amy. After Noblin.
Okay. All right. So, okay, for all 3, if one aimed to be successful in SPNatI, getting a high rank resource, getting praise and reputation, becoming a recognized dev, should one focus on giving a lot of attention to one character or a little bit on many good characters? I would say everyone has their, like, this is like kind of a cop-out answer, and like I don't mean this in the sense like, oh, everyone can be president, but I mean this in the sense of like everyone has their own talents for like what they're good at and how they contribute to the game. I'd say it's like, if you want to get a high rank at the resort, it comes down to basically write a shitload of lines on one character that has general appeal, and then some kind of sub niche appeal, and that'll carry you pretty far. As far as like getting recognition as being like a dev, it's really less about like it is really a lot less about individual achievement and more about how you collaborate and cooperate with your peers in the game. Because like you can write like 10,000 lines of whatever you want; those lines can be good, but it's the interactions with other characters that make this game great. And I don't think there's like a person who is like praised for their like internal targeting. You know what I mean? Like when you think about like Maya and Jura, it's not like, oh, Maya and Jura target the shit out of each other. It's like Maya targets the shit out of everyone. And so there's always a conversation to be had versus like the conversation between those 2 characters.
Yeah, you only get so much recognition for playing inside baseball like that. Better to just like reach out to everyone else.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the question?
I just keep trying to figure it out.
If one aimed to be successful in SPNatI, do you recommend working on one character or a little bit on many good characters? I kind of think it's like it's both, but it's sort of better to have one really good character than like a lot of kind of okay ones. But because like
it depends on how you measure success.
Yeah, when you have a really good character, you can make another really good character. But if you kind of have like 10 mediocre characters, it's harder to upgrade 10 of those into something good.
Yeah, like the resort system as it is definitely like encourages working solely on one character. Mm-hmm. But of course, that character needs to be like it needs to have a lot of general appeal, and you need to put a ton into it.
I think just have fun and make things PPL like. Which means having an open mind. But not just letting other PPL tell you what to do. You have to be the advocate for your own work. And if you can't, nobody else will.
Okay. Let's see. Napsu again, just kind of burning through these. Napsu, is it true that when writing Amy, you don't actually write her, you just black out and wake up with 100 new lines and a terrible sense of eldritch dread?
No.
Anything else you want to do that?
She wakes up with 200 lines.
There is no eldritch dread. And I wake up W 200 lines. I just use my persona TBH.
It should be uploaded, Buddy Tebow. In what state? I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Okay, let's see. spnanon, what's your take on? There's a term that someone wrote in here that I don't really agree with, but what's your take on the rising trend making characters without taking sexual appeal in mind, such as Colt, Minecraft Steve, Zoe, Wario, or Bobo?
Is Wario actually are they actually putting him in the game?
I mean, I don't know. That's not why the question was like. That's why the question was asked. What's your take on that? I kind of think that it's like my opinion on this, even though this is for spnanon, is like
It's fine.
Don't make a character just like, if you're gonna make a character that's kind of like there for the memes, like that's fine, but make them for the memes in a way that's like appealing and enjoyable for people too, because it's like a joke is funny once, like a good character is playable beyond that.
That's
Like,
kind of insulting to insinuate that like Zoe doesn't have any sex appeal. I don't know.
mean,
I don't think that was the creator
I'm
intent.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that. Like I'm not making that claim. I'm just saying that like that's the question. Like there's a little bit more of this that's like a little bit kind of more insulting to a particular creator, and if you wrote this question, I would strongly like reconsider your acts and deeds. So characters without sexual appeal in mind.
Oh, so Wario is legitimately.
I guess so.
Why? Listen, I'm. Why not? Because he's fucking ugly and fat and smells bad. That's why. He's an April Fool's character.
If you wouldn't want the character to be banged by someone, if not you, then don't make them.
Yes, the model is impressive. It doesn't mean he belongs in Strip Poker Night at the inventory. This is why we have April Fools. This is why we have April Fools to ship posts, to make characters that are fat and ugly.
Oh my god, Viz is right. This is the niche. He's a fub. Oh my god.
Yeah, but he's a fub in an environment where you can't rape everyone.
Oh no.
He just has to sit there and be fat and ugly, and everyone calls him fat and ugly, and he's just sad.
The fub. You NTR the fub. Oh, that makes me feel bad.
It's like the reverse fub. It's like,
oh.
Imagine
I like that one comic that's just like, it looks like it's the fub, but it's like it's this really fuck ugly guy, but then he does like all these nice things for people. Like,
imagine a fub dojin, but he doesn't like rape anyone. He's just like miserable.
Oh.
Everyone just calls him fat and ugly in his daily life.
Oh.
He never gets laid.
Yeah. All right. So
seriously, why? I'm not including Zoe in this, but like Wario, why?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's your take on it? What's your distilled TLDR?
I've never had this problem with like. I've never had a problem with like Fardo, the Fardo system, the A in Fardo, like attractive. Like you can make a monster attractive. You can't make Wario attractive. This is why April Fools exists.
So, on to the next question, where it's napsu and maybe nmasp.
Hold on, it's like a setting thing. It's like people will draw for the memes. Like this is the difference in medium between like a Rule 34, like one picture that you commission, and SPNatI. You know, it's like, oh, haha, I drew this fat, ugly bastard raping this girl in like one picture. Oh, haha, isn't that funny? It's not funny Like SPNatI is like the equivalent of telling that joke over and over and over for like 30 minutes.
Yep.
And he's just sitting there. He just is. He's just existing next to all these other characters, and they have to take him seriously. It's like, stop telling that fucking joke. It's not funny.
napsu and maybe nmasp, how does it feel to constantly write for characters who source you don't know nor experience yourself? I mean, it feels fine. Like, I've done a pretty good job with it. I don't know, like I did go back and play Valhalla. I don't think I'm going to play Genshin Impact, but I don't think there's a lot of depth that I'm missing by not playing it.
I think this is only Hu Dao for me, and even then, how much depth am I missing?
I'd say tell little David to work on Wario and put him in April Fool's where he belongs.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like the writing for characters that you haven't experienced yourself is like, I mean, there's not like a ton of things that I'm really missing, I don't think. So it's kind of a meme, but it's a good question. Namaste and napsu, why do you target characters with your entire side of the conversation already written without discussing anything with them? Because I'm just the Chad meme. No, because I think for me, it's like I write those lines in such a way that you can respond to them how I basically expect your character is going to respond to them. But if you want me to change those lines, like you can always be like, this is not the direction I want to take this conversation. So to me, it's just kind of easier because if I don't I'm not going to, like I really don't feel like there's all that many directions these conversations can take. And if there are, we can really just take care of them when they happen. I don't really know. I'm guessing this might be from Nord, in which case, like, I'm sorry if we're just like showering you with tons of targeted lines. But it's, I don't know. I just think it's easier to do that because otherwise you go like back and forth on something that is like not that deep, I guess. Mostly because like if it's like an important conversation, you take your time and pause. But if it's like sort of just like, do you want to do the sex? Yes, then that's the goal. Well, I think like if you want to figure out half your conversation all at once, like I'm happy to just like sit down and talk through it with you. Like you can always just like DM me. I don't really care that much. It's easier for me to just like get it out there and get my thoughts on paper and then revise them if they don't make sense. Like, because I think for me, if I'm only doing one or two at a time, I forget about them and it's hard for me to keep track of them. Versus like if I just put the conversation out there, I can always restructure it versus just getting it done and being taken care of. So I don't know. It's like it's also kind of like that to me is the appeal. It's not about making the most nuanced conversation, I guess. Like it's also like if the conversation is structured in a way like it doesn't make sense with like how your character would respond, I can just rewrite lines. You just tell me that you want to rewrite them, in which case we're back to square one of like communicating on a line by line basis of like, this is what I want to do. This is what you wrote. Let's change that. And then it's like, okay, cool. So if I got it right, it's less effort. If I got it wrong, we're back to square one anyway. So it's just kind of easier for both of us to have that structure in play. It also shows like, yeah.
Honestly, like the pigeoning for me just like helps spread out the work. It just means like it's easier for me to be done for the day and send in the update and wait for a reply. It just lets me like change the character's opinions.
I just like
over
to
time.
get work done in batches, so it's easier for me to have it all structured. It also means it shows intent. So if I put in 59 lines to Urchar, I want that level of effort back. Versus like, oh wow, Hu Dao, you have a ghost, IDK if you want more depth or not.
Honestly, I like just kind of sliding the drink over and seeing where the night develops. I just like seeing where we can take these things. If I like it, I'll keep targeting. If not, well, we can just kind of end it there.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know. Like, I think the point that I'm trying to make is like, I'm not expecting like all of these things to be perfect, but it's like, if you have a structure in play of like, these are all the lines that I've written to you, and like, that's pretty much all you needed, and then you build in your responses, you're good to go. And if you want to like evolve those, I can just change them later. But it's sort of like, well, it's better than writing placeholder for like intentionally for 60 lines. I don't know. Like I can't write placeholder for like every stage all the time.
Alpha, I am so behind on targets because I need to put this aside and just do shit that I should have done a long time ago with like generic lines and art updates, and like if I try to stay ahead of targets, I'm never gonna get that other stuff done. That's just the way it is. I hate to fall behind on this, but it's either that or the important stuff.
Yeah, I think if I don't respond back, it's fine. Just remind me. I think a lot of times with like for Cynthia in particular, I have a lot of trouble targeting Cynthia just because I don't really get the character because I'm not a big Pokemon fan. Like I think she's good. It's just not really my particular. Like I like Jessie a lot better. I have more fun targeting Jessie.
Like I always respond. I always respond to targets to my characters. When I if I like the character or if I feel like there's potential there, I'll target them more. What I mean is being proactive. I mean targeting more stages.
Yeah.
I don't mean responses. I always respond. Always.
Yeah, respond. Yeah, I'm kind of in that same boat. Okay. So general question. Who is your favorite male character on the roster?
Who, me?
Yeah, who's your everyone? Who's your favorite male character? Think about it.
Leon or Adrian Yellowheart.
Oh God, I'm glad I didn't list off 100 different things. But I mean,
Yellowheart, 3,629,000,000.
I like, it's like I like my own male characters. Obviously, I think in terms of the ones I have the most fun playing with, I think Fate is probably the most interesting. I like Gem too. I like Pit. I think like now that Pit's getting more updates, I think there's a little bit more like re-relevancy to it. Brock is good. Like I like most of the male characters. I'm just not attracted to them, so it's harder to write them.
Full disclosure, I just don't really play with the male characters very much. I target them, but I don't play with them. Leon seems pretty promising. I want to look at him a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure I'll talk about him on the next proper podcast. But I like the direction you're going with him. He seems like he's filling a good kind of like the Jin role, or he's just kind of like a competent but kind of down to earth guy. He's not afraid to flirt, but he's also like not a twink. I think that's a presence, like the sort of normal guy presence. That's just like a good presence to have.
Yeah, he's like an action hero.
Leon PLS flashbang me.
Okay, control the thirst. Napsu, what made you pick Sakura over the rest of the members of Franshushu? What drew you to the characters, or to her character?
She's just very normal and was a fun task to write apt a girl in essentially a you get dreams but at what cost kind of way. Yugiri is a lot more accessible. So I think another person could do GR8 writing her. nmasp should write Junko. So
oh my god, I got Junko right.
Blame him.
Okay, so that's a Napsu. What do we got? Some other ones.
So it got Junko right, but it didn't even try with Maya.
No, it didn't. To anyone, if you're on a stranded island, you can only bring one Pokemon. Which would it be?
Ditto. Actually, then again, can't Ditto only transform into stuff it can see?
Yeah, I'd pick Lugia because it's like I just don't want to be stranded on an island.
That's good. That's a good, yeah, just a flying Pokemon. Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh could fly across the ocean. Latios. Anything with surf.
Leafeon BCUZ is Q.
I like how they got Leafeon in there. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah. Is Leaf, well, it's basically just two words.
Yeah, I guess so.
Leafeon is the cutest evolution for you? I don't know, it looks kind of dry. It looks like it could like catch on fire at any moment. Looks like kindling.
Well, my name is Evie, so.
What?
I like all of the evolutions.
I'm an Espeon Jolteon kind of guy.
They are apparently just bad.
What?
But is okay BCUZ. I am not a competitive Pokemon player.
Oh yeah, I guess competitively they're kind of bad. I mean, they haven't always been bad. Some of them have been pretty good. It's like they just don't learn a lot of moves.
My sister loves fighting Pokemon. And I don't get it. They are cute plushy things. Not pro athletes.
I don't know. You're talking to an
I guess
Infernape
there is
fan over here.
Hitmontop.
I just want to punch.
I don't know anything about Pokemon except like Lugia is like cool.
Honestly, like most of the evolutions have been good competitively, at least at some point in their lives, with the exception of like Flareon, which is just Terabad.
Oh, that's a shame. Flareon's pretty cool. Okay, so
yeah, I guess. Well, Leafeon was like kind of good in like lower tiers. Sort of. Glaceon was never really good, I guess, but it's an ice type. That's the thing. Like being an ice type is really bad. Being a fire type is really bad. Like a pure fire type, that's awful.
nmasp, what is the general direction touchstones when used when writing Natsuki?
Well, they all have shit move pools.
Yeah. For Natsuki, I don't. She kind of predates me using touchstones on things. To be honest, I don't know. I just kind of write her as like smart and tsundere, but really insecure. Is kind of the basic of it, where it's like there's all these things she wants to do. She's just not really self-fulfilled in a way that makes her want to go actually feel like she can go do them. So I think with her, like the interactions are mostly about like I'm actually writing up like the kind of final draft of the various lines I'm going to have on her
For Natsuki?
Yeah, so it's like I need to go and target like my characters and napsus with her, but and then like kind of like any outstandings, but so I'm kind of like writing up her like final like little swan song thing. I just write like I don't know. I think I really relate to like Natsuki as like as far as all the characters go, not because I'm like a short person who's like abused by my parents or anything like that, but just because I don't know. It's like it feels very weird to be. I don't know. I'll spare the diatribe, but I really relate strongly to the character, and I think she's really interesting for a lot of reasons. And I think the big thing with her is like she's a little bit under-equipped to be the type of person that she could be. And I think one of the problems is like in a club that were a little bigger without like Monica and like Yuri, I think Natsuki would be a lot happier because the problem is like Monica is like doing reality hacks and is kind of like master of all trades, and Yuri's like pretty smart, but like Natsuki's not in a position to gain practical expertise. It's sort of like you have these two science, you have like a doctor, a scientist, and an engineer. And I think Natsuki would be a really good engineer if she had like more practical expertise, whereas like Yuri is a little bit more of a scholar and Monica is a little bit more of like good at everything. So she goes and does like the really high demand, difficult tasks. But I think like Natsuki would do really well on her own. She's just like not set up to be successful. So I find that really interesting, but she's really cool. I really like Natsuki as a character. Okay, so we're coming down to the wire. 3 napsu questions
almost done with
left.
the questions?
Yep, 3 napsu questions left, and then 1 for everyone. So I'll do the everyone next. It's how do you feel about people not wanting to make up? Basically, like TLDR is like, how do you feel about people not wanting to make epilogues anymore compared to back in the day? And
it's disappointing, but I don't blame them.
Like I don't know why it felt like it was easier to do it back in the day. Maybe just because like
the tools were simpler.
The standard was lower, I think.
It was just like a PowerPoint slideshow. That's all you had. That's all you could make.
But why couldn't people do that today, right? Like, why can't you just make like a PowerPoint epilogue?
Because why would you even bother when Nami's epilogue exists next to it?
Yeah, but that sucks. That's like saying I can't
foot-long cock of an epilogue.
That's like saying like I can't. But that's like saying like I can't bake a cake because I'm not, I don't know, Gordon Ramsay or lamb sauce. I can't make lamb sauce because I'm not Gordon Ramsay. It's like people still want to eat fucking food,
Making a character is so much work on its own now that like an epilogue on top of that's like a whole nother character worth of effort. Yeah, exactly what Horse Killer just said.
I got so deep into streaming Chan and Amy's Ilgois N was just so hard.
Well, you really butchered epilogues there.
Emogus. Red Emogus. Seuss. What?
Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Sus. This Cat in the Hat is pretty sus.
This Cat in the Hat's pretty sus. All right, so 2 more questions, basically, and then we're done with like the pre-recordeds. Go ahead.
I would love for people to make more epilogues, but it's a totally different skill set. That's the problem. That's why I don't like them as an idea. It's just completely divorced from everything else that it takes to make a character.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
So I don't blame them.
Dr. Sus, 1 Sus, 2 Sus, Red Sus. Seuss.
And no one else. I mean, you don't see anyone else making epilogues anymore. So honestly, I feel like that's one of the reasons the 4chan threads don't get as much engagement as they did
no epilogue
4 years ago. There's no epilogues, and like there's more characters from like Eastern sources than there were in like 2017. So it's like it's the thread for Western porn. So they see that less. They don't see stuff they want to engage with. But we can't put it on like a board for Japanese stuff because Western stuff is in it. It's just weird. It exists in between boards, basically. It doesn't have a home.
I can agree with that. All right, so Napsu, would you ever cosplay the Crown Prince? Would you ever cosplay Miko?
I could never even hope to be as good as Miko.
Does that make nmasp Tojiko? Nmasp, can you be the big titty wife?
I can be the big titty wife.
I don't get Toho.
I got Toho.
I just also have a lot of costumes in the chest already. So now it's like...
That's true. I have like a working...
Finding things that overlap.
I have like a working understanding of Toho now, just from watching like the AVGN YouTube poops.
Like Futaba's jacket and T91's. Both are functional. But I can only have so many use-specific clothes. Like you wear a costume a few times. So it's fun but not useful to have 90 of them.
All right. So, Nord, like let's DM over what we want to see happen with the characters, because I just like writing those lines out down the way. Okay. There's one question left for Napsu. It's just like, which famous celebrity would you want to punch in the face?
Oh. That's hard. Like, how hard can I hit them? Can I hit them more than once?
It just says you can punch them in the face. So there's no number or other implement that you can use.
Oh. Cara Delevingne.
Belle Delphine?
God, she's such a bitch. Talentless.
I have no idea who this person is. Where's Wikipedia when you need her?
The worst. Though Elon Musk is a GR8 choice.
Cara Jocelyn Delevingne.
Reality will just ensue for him.
Model of the year.
Plus in the face ISNT good enough. ISNT. RLY. Sigh.
Oh, she's also an actress.
Yeah.
Paper Towns, Suicide Squad.
There's nothing valuable in that. Okay, so looks like we can open the floor to kind of some general AMA stuff. You can do this for the group, or I can do about 30 more minutes. I think people want to ask anything else, or that's the queued up AMA, and we can send them in as we like. So I think that's opening the floor. Okay. nmasp, of every character you ever worked on, got into a fight, who would win? Probably Marinette very easily. Like, Marinette is like a low-level reality warper and is kind of an idiot in certain respects, but very capable on the whole. Like, I don't think anyone can beat her in a fight. I mean, it's like assuming that like everyone has like their full power set and not like kind of contrivances to put them on the same tier. Like if it's just like a general fight, that's sort of where I would go.
Natsuki has Wolverine energy, yes, but she does not have an adamantium skeleton.
No.
She has a malnourished skeleton.
Okay, so
the spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak.
Worry less, do more.
Advice I'd give to new devs. This is just general, so spnanon, you can ask this one too.
What? What advice?
Anamon asks, like, what advice would you give to new devs? I think napsu gives a good version of this. I'd say it's like the best thing you can do, honestly, is just like find other creators and connect with them in ways that are just like good writing, especially if they both have a character on testing and on the main roster, because it just gives you different perspectives and gives you different ways of finding out how to do things that are exciting. That's my tip.
I like being a new dev, and like I don't know if you've ever done anything like creative in your personal life otherwise, but like my advice, if you're a new dev and you're having that rush of like creating stuff for the first time, is like you are dumb and your ideas are bad, and just accept that. It's like everything you should just assume that like everything you think, like every idea you have is just like bad and awful, and always like take advice from others. Basically, that's how you get good, is just assume, like, we are born into this world and we don't know nothing about anything. We're all fucking stupid pieces of shit. So just listen to people who know what the fuck they're talking about and who have done things already. Experience is the best teacher. So like, and that goes for like the source material too. Like, you have everything to learn from the source material that was made by professionals. Just like, all of your ideas are bad. Go with the source material because that was published and it made money, so it's good.
Yeah, I mean, like Twilight got published. Like, don't worry about it.
Well, you know what? It did make a lot of money, so it was appealing to somebody.
Twilight got published and it made a lot of money, so it's like, look, like the bar is low. Just do what you got to do. A couple questions actually came in on the forum for me and napsu, so I'll just go with those.
Sorry, that's my advice. Is just please take everyone else's advice.
And by that token, it's just like advice is what you make of it, right? Like if everyone's telling you it's a bad idea, you're allowed to say like you're all wrong and I'm going to do it anyway. But like
you should have a very good reason for doing that.
Think about what you're doing and why you're doing it, not just because you feel like doing it.
Yeah, like everything you like if you've ever heard of like inductive reasoning, like just like go through that thought process in your mind of like, okay, everything I think I know about this character, where did I get that information? Where did I get that idea in my head? Does it stand up to scrutiny? How much, yeah, if this is their character trait, how much do they actually express that trait? How many times do they actually say this? How many times, like, in what context was this said? Just stuff like that. Like, what is the foundation of all of my knowledge, basically? And boil it down to, like, the essence. Like, what are the most important touchstones? Versus what is just, like, a weird one-off thing.
Right. Okay, so napsu, how do you feel about the fact that like most Yandere simulator remakes, you managed to write Ayano better than Yandev, but failed to launch anyway?
Very meta, a lot like Union.
Okay, so rude. But not. IDKI like Ayano as a character, I am just lazy. But she's P close to Dunsa like IDK, just push her over the line and get her credit, Yandere fans.
Yeah, I'm still uncertain as to why you haven't finished that character. There's like very little left to do. So question for me, and I guess this could be open to spnanon and apps as well. What's your take on the new rise of concerns about characters' ages and whether they look mature enough? It's like, as someone who's a former mod, I think this is like a legitimate concern, but I do think that it can feel a little bit like the bar for this is not particular. The bar for this is at an acceptable standard, such that like there are very clearly characters in this game that are, they look 18, but they look 18, not like 35, and I think that's okay. It's just like you just have to avoid like this is confusable with like lolly stuff or loli, whatever you want to call it.
Sorry, what's the question?
The question is like, what's your take on the new rise of concerns about character ages and whether they look mature enough? But like
new concern?
Yeah, it's like
this has been a constant concern.
It's been a constant concern. Yeah, but it's like people are, I don't know. Someone's like clearly noticed it a little bit more.
Fucking Vidal got this shit.
Yeah. So I think it's like, I understand where it's coming from, but I also think that it's like you kind of have to fuck up pretty bad for like the mods to tell you something doesn't look right. And if the mods aren't telling you to do it, it's like, well, everyone's got a different standard of purity for what is and isn't an adult. But honestly, like until someone's put in like 5 or 6 characters into the game, it's a little hard to evaluate those opinions equally. It's just, but like, it's like, when you see it, right? Like, I mean, Natsuki is kind of like the bottom line for a reason. I think Megumin is like that as well. But, I mean, I think Nagamimi is the only character in recent memory that got like rejected with the first model and got to be, revised on the way in. So she was rejected the first time. And, the model that she has now is revised. So it's
I did not know that.
I don't know if people did, but
it might have been public and I just forgot.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's not, like it's sort of like the only case in which case we've just like hard rejected a model, I think, is like Pearl. And like Pearl from Splatoon. And in fairness, it's like the model is really 1-to-1 with like the source, and the source says she's 21. Unfortunately, it's like the source can have like Kana or something like that, which is like, it doesn't matter if she's like 9 billion years old or whatever. Like clearly Senko's model needed to be revised as well. Senko from the show needed to be revised to make the model that she uses today. So I don't know. Like to me, the concerns are somewhat arbitrary, and it's like everyone's gonna have a different level of standard. I think the way that the standards are set today is pretty self-explanatory. Like, don't make them look younger than Natsuki and Megumin, and you're fine. If they do, like, don't. It's not that complicated.
Yeah, even Natsuki and Megumin, like, they do have some measures taken to make them look kind of teenage, at least. So, again, I think I've gone on record. I think there's a lot of pearl clutching over like teenagers and teenage sexuality. Like, teenagers are horny as fuck. It's not a character being 18 is not a big deal. And like, I do think there is a legit double standard that's unfortunate, just kind of like the reality of biology when it comes to like male versus female.
I look more like Natsuki or Megumin LMAO, and it'd be one of the oldest chars on the roster, so IDK.
That's the thing, like, compare like male and female, just like,
I think the boys get way too much of a pass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like Basil is yikesy.
Like, it's way more. It's
9's less so, but still needs fix. Thanks, based Zeus.
A girl, an 18-year-old girl, or even a girl in her 20s or 30s. Like, it's just a lot more reasonable for a woman to be short and small. That's just reality.
Right.
I hate to break it to you, but that's just a fact. Like,
you can't keep biology after a certain. Yeah, it's like it's just the way it is. Yeah. Anyway.
Whereas you could be a girl could have like 6 kids and be like 4'10". That's just how it is.
Viz is making a comment where it's like, I think it's just it's way harder to make a male character look more mature in Gisuke, and I think I absolutely think that's like not a small problem.
I mean, what 18-year-old kid, what 18-year-old guy looks like Basil?
Anyway, okay, so those are the inbound questions. There's a few questions in chat, which is we're gonna just shelve this one. Where was it? It's like, what's the weirdest thing you've seen in development? I think was the question.
Leafy.
Yeah, Leafy was pretty bad.
Nobody else broke the game.
Yeah, I think Leafy is pretty hard to like beat. Weirdest thing. Thank you for the link up to that. What's the weirdest thing you've seen in your SPNatI career? I think Leafy is up there. I think Anelli was the worst thing I've ever seen. That was pretty bad. Like, so the story of this goes is it was July 4th. I was enjoying some psilocybin mushrooms, and I was not in my right mind. And this character came across like the mods plate. I just remember looking at it being like, this can't be a real thing. Like, I was just like, this is like me tripping balls, and like not like this is like some sort of psychosomatic bizarre thing. And then whatever. It was weird. There's probably more mundane things, but that was not ideal. All right, so the next question is, how do I tell if advice is worth listening to? I think context matters a lot. Like,
it's the same thing with like your own knowledge. You question your own knowledge and what is this founded upon? And you look at the advice they're giving is like, okay, what is their knowledge of this character? Where are they coming from? Why are they saying this?
Yeah, it's also like it's something we have to trust expertise because like I don't know. This is just, I'm not going to name names by any means, but it's like if Metalitar says that like your model could use some work, that's obviously very different than me doing it because I don't touch the model side of things to save my life. Like it's not ideal. And then by the other token, it's like if spnanon is saying like you're writing too many like lines that are not sensible, having written 20,000 lines on Maya, that's someone good to listen to. Someone who's written a lot about a given character or given archetype or given subject matter is probably a more reliable source than someone who hasn't. And then in the same way, it's like, like to what Betamon is saying in the chat right now, it's like people are not here to watch torture porn. I think generally, I think there's probably a time and a place, which is why streaming chan exists. So if you want to like talk about fucked up things, just go talk to Napsu about it, and then you kind of have your cake and eat it too. But I think generally speaking, it's like advice is worth what you pay for it, and you're always welcome to say like fuck you, you're an idiot. But by the same token, it's like most of the people here with like more character creation under their belt know what they're talking about. But it's always like you can look and see like Amy, right? Like Amy DDLC is essentially like this chaotic monstrosity of whatever, and then it still worked out pretty well. So I don't know, like you can always like listen to people based on what you think their context is, and you can always just ask, right? Be like, why are you giving me this advice? Or like what, like you can always like ask more questions. Yeah. Because if someone says like, why should you, like someone says you should do this, you can always just ask them why. And if they can't give you a good answer, it's probably not good advice. Like if they can't articulate it, you should probably inquisitive it a little bit more.
LMAO, I think Hex called me the devil when Amy was in development. I believe the quote was, "This is the most evil thing in the world." And like a good cultist, I convinced him.
Convinced him?
Convinced? Is that like Kovefe?
Shut up. I need my Kofifi.
All right. So, what is... Yeah, okay. So, any other questions from the chat? Otherwise...
I think Alpha had one, like a serious one.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it. Can you go up there?
What's your opinion of joint forfeits as a substitute for epilogues?
I think it's fine. Like I don't work with the art on that, but I kind of I like it better than the epilogues because it's like between two characters, so you can get like really into the details with that.
It's less work,
Yeah, I think so.
but it's a lot harder to see. I personally find them a little indulgent,
I like dual forfeits a lot.
but it's better than nothing.
BCUZ, they are indulgent. I weigh my dollies to smash. I want my dollies to kiss. Ah yes.
The fact that rhymes and it's like in the TTS voice is really fucking funny. Who do you want to have a dual forfeit except those already made and planned? That's a good question. I need to think about that one.
Rainer, Fate.
That's an option.
Gainer.
I think Sucrose and Fluttershy would be a good candidate. They've got this really interesting interaction with Rouge going on. I think if it led to that, that would be pretty cool.
Sucrose and who?
Fluttershy.
Oh, didn't they already have like some fan art?
They did, so I think like actually having it in the game would be really interesting.
Solitaire, I have an editing request. Please put that fan art.
It's fairly tasteful too. It's like you can't see a whole lot. Okay. All right, Horse Killer.
Censor it with like New Year's fireworks.
Yeah, Horse Killer. I'll bring you in on that conversation, but I think Napsu would kill me if I took you away from like the Noel Senko stuff first.
It can be a little awkward. I try to have them still focus on other characters when they're doing. I mean, like I made a dual forfeit with Maya and Jura, and I still like comment on.
I think you gotta, if you're gonna put two of them in like an actual dual forfeit together, it should be about those two characters. Like you're there to watch. It's like you don't open the porno to like.
No, I disagree. I disagree.
What? Oh, fuck you. No, you're allowed to disagree. This is.
I'll just be like, oh, Maya, check out the cock on that one.
Wow, look at that big old wiener.
Oh, is that it?
I mean, that's the answer. Well, I guess for you, like which two, like for ones that don't already exist, which two would you want to see? Like, which two characters would you want to be in a dual forfeit?
Well, there might just be a dual showering interaction.
Oh, is it Nami Maya? That's good.
And who knows? Maybe another tall blonde bombshell could get in on the mix too. Anything's possible.
A triple forfeit. Wow.
Well, it might just be like a duel with one or the other. But anything's possible.
Forfeit. All things are possible through Jesus.
Through Dick Unity.
All right. So I think that's it. Any outstanding questions? Good.
Any final memes?
Any final meme questions?
If two guys were on the moon and one killed the other with a rock, would that be fucked up or what?
Depends if one's a werewolf or not.
Is Misaka good? I have no fucking clue anything about a certain scientific index, or whatever the fuck it's called, magical index, scientific realm. What kind of title is that?
I haven't touched the character yet, so I don't know. Which franchise do you think could be the next Genshin? A franchise that's suddenly populated in Spanish? I think it was Misty that said the next AAA gacha game. I would agree with that. Weirdly, this is kind of my bias of play, but I think like Dead by Daylight could very easily explode between like Blue Jay driving it, and I think there's like it's like one of those like kind of like niche franchises that people get super horny about. So I feel like there's mileage there. Apsu, any opinions on the next big one?
OW2. It's already got built-in sex stuff.
There's sex in Overwatch 2?
But at the corporate level. And it's non-con. Oh noes.
They should just make it a porn game. I mean, why not?
Look at me being spicy. I mean, yeah, right?
Just like dress up and pin up, you know.
Jeff Kaplan PLS hire me to write DVA smut.
Spnanon, give me your favorite piece of SPNatI lore. I'd have to check the iceberg.
The archives.
Perhaps the archives are incomplete.
Okay, Nord. Namasp, if someone made Claire Redfield purely hypothetically, what would Leon's reactions be like? I mean, you'd want to bang her. Like the memes about like, it's like I would be hard pressed to make something that's far more funny about Leon not wanting to bang Claire than it would be to just like make it fun about why he hasn't banged Claire and then just make him bang Claire. Like, you know what I mean? It's not that complicated. And then if someone made Chris Redfield, but was it Claire Redfield then Chris? Oh my God. If Chris Redfield purely hypothetically, what would it be like? Chris, like Leon would be trying to bang Chris instead. Same thing.
You know what a good piece of lore is? That like Andrew fucking linked Etika to SPNatI. And he's like, sounds wild, I'll check it out soon. And we could have like had this explosion in popularity, and then like a week later he mysteriously died.
Oh no. It was me, Barry.
He was eliminated.
So
the Bogdanov brothers like called in the hit.
Sadly, no DVA rework RN.
And then
Orphea will be my last char, but we do have a HOTS one inbound.
When you had the chance for an RE character, why did you not choose Giant Dom Vampire Mommy? Because I'm afraid of large breasts. Not the actual answer, but it's an informative one.
Yeah, it's kind of true.
Though
it was a meme. But I had a friend try to era him.
Era.
Yeah, it wasn't super fun.
And he a legit panic attack. Not a joke.
You're weird, man.
Big SRY.
As an avowed ass man, I love some big fucking titties.
I mean, I don't dislike them. I just don't want them near me because I'm afraid of suffocating.
Do you not put your face against the pillow?
No, it's Nick. Anyway,
what was the traumatic like childhood?
I don't want to talk about it.
Were you like breastfeeding and your mom like fell over?
No, I was. I think I would rather not talk about it, to be honest.
Okay.
So, like legitimately, I don't want to talk about it.
It's like some sudden infant death syndrome.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so sudden infant death syndrome is the name of my like finisher. It's my air.
Just rip their heart out.
It's my fatality move. SIDS.
Drink the baby blood like the ANCAP you are.
There we go. It keeps me young and lets me, go to space.
I think that's a nice joke to end on. I think you win the night.
I think we do. All right. So, what current SPNatI trend do you think will age badly? As fun as it is, I think probably dual forfeits. That's kind of my concern. Is like if one of the two characters keeps getting updated and the other doesn't, there's like always going to be this relic. Like, I think it's a great idea. I'm really excited about it, but I think that's like my big concern is like if it's characters flirting, like you can kind of let it go, but it's like, if I died tomorrow, well, yeah, if you control both characters, true, but like if I died tomorrow and like I don't know, I don't have a character that's in the situation. Like if I died tomorrow, but like Fluttershy kept getting more like additions added to her, obviously like the Sucrose dual forfeit would be this like weird like relic of the past. So I don't know.
Could the trend of like Horse Killer donating all these models, could that age badly? Because if he ever stops, the like new characters art is just going to go down.
No, I don't think it's going to age badly. I just think it's kind of like there's always going to be more artists, and there's people who are going to have to learn how to do it. Like it's just like without question, right? Like Horse Killer has made the game really in a really good state, but it's like if Horse Killer stopped developing and stopped making models, like someone else would have to figure out how to do that. Like a lot of people. And I think like the other version of this is like, yeah, exactly. Don't be too dependent on any one person. Like, I think the very worst version of this would be like if someone hypothetically was like the epilogue person and that person quit, that would suck.
Yeah. This is not to denigrate anyone who's recently made their own model. Like, good job.
No, yeah, I mean, like, I fuck, like, my
honestly, I consider it a pretty important part of like being a new creator is kind of appreciating the art and like learning at least
how to,
understanding it enough at least to like understand others' concerns.
Agreed. I think like everyone should do at least one. Like, I think everyone should try and make at least one model just to see like, yeah, this shit's not super easy.
This is hard.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. It's like a bad skill in some ways because it's like, sorry, a bad skill is not the way I meant to phrase it. It's like it's a very difficult skill to acquire because it's not like it's not like there's a lot of transferable assets you get from it. Like if you learn Photoshop, you can basically do other things with it. But cool. All right, so Alpha Man, I think you're gonna ask like one more question, but then I think I'm gonna wrap it up after that.
Current SPNatI trend age. I mean, I think some characters are a little. A lot of new characters are like they're a little too afraid to be horny, and I think that could cause them to age badly.
I'd agree with that too. It's like you can write a good developed character without like being afraid that they're thirsty. Last question, Spanon. Will you get sent to another dimension when I pass your line count?
I'm gonna assume this is like what Jesse passing Revy or whatever.
I don't know.
I haven't put like a huge amount of work into like raising Revy or Jura's line counts in a long time, so.
All right.
I guess it's possible, but sure took you a while to catch up when I was spinning my wheels. That's all I'm saying.
All right, guys. Good talk. Happy New Year. May it be the best year of SPNatI and whatever challenges you may have overcome in 2021. I hope that you emerge stronger for your experiences and you keep kicking ass. Have a great night. Talk to you all later. Happy Saturday. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And Nord,
it's gonna be a good year. It's gonna be a good year for the game.
Nord and Alias, get your DMs ready because I'm coming in hot. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks for all the questions.
And then we'll go back to the pre-submitted questions. So see y'all in about 5 minutes, and hope you're having a good New Year. Be right back. We have pizza at the door, so I need to go get that.
Well, I'm here.
Same LMAO.
I don't know. Personally, I never liked nmasp, but I don't know what his deal is. I mean, nmasp, like, what kind of guy has like his username missing vowels? Is my voice ASMR worthy? Because I would be very flattered. And if you want to give me something to read, I can do it. I am not reading cock and ball torture. I can just tell them no if I don't want it. I'll read the Vaporeon copy pasta. I don't give a fuck. You think that's the worst thing you could throw at me? Oh, dear God. Okay, Cavendish, it's going to need to be shorter than that. We only have 5 minutes. I will say the difference since nmasp isn't here. Let me just like the difference between like employment and slavery is disposable income.
These questions are too deep for this.
I think I tested like some recording software with the fucking Navy SEAL copy pasta. I can read that. What the fuck did you just fucking say about me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on Al-Qaeda, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I am trained in guerrilla warfare, and I'm the top sniper in the entire U.S. Armed Forces. You are nothing to me but just another target. I will wipe you the fuck out with precision, the likes of which has never been seen before on this earth.
Sad
Mark my
Weiss,
fucking words.
384 quadrillion, 160
You think you can get away with saying that shit to me over the internet? Think again, fucker. As we speak, I am contacting my secret network of spies across the USA, and your IP is being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that wipes out the pathetic little thing you call your life. You're fucking dead, kid. I can be anywhere, anytime, and I can kill you in over 700 ways, and that's just with my bare hands. Not only am I extensively trained in unarmed combat, but I have access to the entire arsenal of the United States Marine Corps, and I will use it to its full extent to wipe your miserable ass off the face of the continent, you little shit. If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little clever comment was about to bring down upon you. Maybe you would have held your fucking tongue, but you couldn't. You didn't. And now you're paying the price, you goddamn idiot. I will shit fury all over you, and you will drown in it. You're fucking dead, kiddo.
Well, I'm back.